I request student officers to just sit besides their panelists. Please be seated, and I request you all to kindly put your phones on silent. Honorable guests, respected faculty, and fellow students, a warm welcome to each and every one of you as we gather here for an exciting and knowledge packed day at our Marketing Conclave, and the theme of which is the next market. I am Pranati Shukla, and I am delighted to welcome you all for this special occasion. In an era where consumer behavior, digital transformation, and sustainability concerns are reshaping the market, the next market is the ideal platform to explore the innovative approaches and cutting edge tools that can help businesses adapt and thrive. This conclave brings together marketing experts, industry leaders, and innovators from all around the India to discuss and dissect the latest trends, strategies, and technologies that will shape the future of marketing. But before moving further, I would like to invite keynote speaker for the day, Mr. Prashant Kumar, guest of honor, Dr. Pramod Joshi, Dean, Dr. Richa Dhaya, and Professor Vikram Tyagi for lamp lighting. And I request you all to kindly stand up for the Saraswati Vandana. Thank you, everyone. I request you all to kindly sit down, and our respected guests to kindly grace the dais with your presence. I request Mr. Prashant Kumar, our Dean Dr. Richa Dhaya, our guest of honor Dr. Pramod Joshi, and our Professor Vikram Tyagi to kindly come on the dais and grace it with your presence. Thank you, everyone. The next Marketing Conclave, promises to be an educational and inspirational event equipping us with the skills and knowledge they need to excel in the ever-evolving world of marketing. Now I would request our Dean, Dr. Richa Dhaya, to kindly deliver the welcome address.
Well, on this beautiful day, 28th October 2023, I feel an extreme sense of happiness and honor to welcome our distinguished speakers of the day. It feels like a galaxy of marketers have come together to sparkle this day with their knowledge and wisdom. We have gathered here today to embark on a journey of knowledge, collaboration, and inspiration that promises to leave an indelible mark on our memory and our minds. And today we have brought together some of the most brilliant and influential minds in the field of marketing. It's my great honor and privilege to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to our esteemed keynote speaker of the day, Shri Prashant Kumar, and guest of honor, Shri Pramod Joshi, for presiding the inaugural session. Thank you so much. From keynote addresses by renowned experts to panel discussions, this conclave promises to be a platform where innovation converges with tradition and where ideas converge with action. And I'm sure the diverse perspectives, knowledge, and expertise that you all bring to the table will undoubtedly spark inspiration and drive transformative change in these young minds. But beyond the intellectual discourse and knowledge exchange, this conclave is an opportunity for you to forge new connections and build new relationships. Once again, I extend a very warm welcome to each and every one of you present here today. It's indeed a pleasure for all of us to host you today. While speaking on behalf of JK Business School, I deem it my duty to tell you something about JK Business School. JK Business School was established in 2006 under the guidance and leadership of our founder chairman, late Shri Govind Hari Singhania ji, who envisioned a dream to provide quality management education to all classes, creeds, and divisions of the society. JK Business School belongs to the prestigious JK organization, having a legacy of more than 139 plus years. JK Group has contributed to Indian businesses through diverse industries and initiatives like JK Tech, Raymonds, JK Defense, Aerospace, JK Lakshmi, JK Cement, Cleanerex, JK Education, JK Tire, JK Dairy, JK Paper, and so on. This institute offers 3 programs: PGDM, which is Postgraduate Diploma in Management with dual specialization, BBA and BCA. We offer 6 specializations to PGDM students, such as marketing, HR, finance, operations and supply chain management, business analytics, and digital transformation. We have a MOU with JK Technosoft company for 100% placement of BCA students, as well as PGDM business analytics and digital transformation students. Vis-a-vis with JK Tech Company, we provide them mentorship and special projects so that they could be equipped with the latest skills of the industry. The curriculum is designed according to the industry requirements that contain modules like Industry 4.0, design thinking, and digital business models, etc. Our consistent recruiters are Ameriprise Financials, Ernst & Young, Nestle, KPMG, Jetscaler, Flipkart, Berger, Quintica, Gartner, HUL, ITC, Axis Bank, Airtel, Ceasefire, etc., to name a few. In nutshell, I would say we strongly believe in the motto of learn, innovate, and excel. And lastly, before leaving the dais, I would like to say, dear students and everyone present here, that the only way that we can live is if we grow. The only way we can grow is if we change. The only way we can change is if we learn. The only way we can learn is if we are exposed. The only way we can become exposed is if we throw ourselves into the open. So that's indeed the purpose of this marketing conclave. So let's throw ourselves into the open and let the marketing conclave begin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words. But before I call upon Mr. Prashant Kumar to deliver the keynote address, I would like to say a few words about him. Mr. Prashant Kumar is not only a seasoned business leader, but also a visionary with a proven track record in shaping, nurturing, and successfully steering sales and marketing endeavors both on the domestic and global stage. His professional journey has been nothing short of remarkable, involving strategic roles with industry-leading global and Indian corporations across diverse product areas, including automotive, chemicals, and financial sectors. Throughout his illustrious career, Mr. Kumar has borne critical responsibilities, demonstrating his prowess in market entry, distribution network establishment, organizational development, and profit and loss management. These responsibilities have been instrumental in propelling his organizations to greater heights, fostering growth and innovation in the process. At Continental AG in Germany, where he served as Director of Marketing and Sales, Mr. Kumar displayed exceptional leadership skills and insights. He steered the business operations in India and APAC export markets with a laser focus on passenger car and milestones, including the establishment of a robust market presence, business development, and effective talent management, all while maintaining a keen eye on profit and loss. During his tenure at Modi Rubber Limited, Mr. Kumar's visionary approach led to the successful introduction of innovative products and establishment of a joint venture for crankshaft manufacturing in India. His creative thinking extended to areas like credit insurance for trade risk indemnification and the promotion of cutting-edge technologies like powder coatings. Mr. Kumar's substantial accomplishments and unwavering dedication unwavering dedication to the industry are testaments to his status as a thought leader and an industry luminary. His presence at the Marketing Conclave promises to be an enriching and enlightening experience for attendees, offering them a rare opportunity to tap into the insights and expertise of a true industry titan. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
But good morning to anybody whom I have already not wished yet, because I think most of you I met while coming in to this gorgeous campus. Pariniti, right? Yes. Thank you so much, Pariniti. I was sitting there and listening to what she was saying, and I was thinking whom she is talking about. But when she took my name, I said, it must be me. But all the wonderful words you heard, yeah, it just happened. And I think it just happens. You don't plan many things, and that's the beauty of life. And that's what we are here for today. I'm very pleased to be here today, especially with the presence of the future leaders.
A little closer, in the back they are not.
Okay. तो अब मैं चलूंगा फिरूंगा तो इसको उठा के
कॉलर बैग मंगाते हैं, कॉलर बैग.
नहीं कोई बात नहीं yeah, it's indeed a pleasure to see the young, bright, excited faces in the rear rows who are the future of tomorrow. It's an equally big pleasure to meet, see and interact with the leaders of today. I'm on a bit of a history side. Coming to this topic, but before that, on a somber note, I miss one gentleman here today. I was here a few months back, and Mr. Mahapatra, who is the Director General here, I met him for the first time and we immediately hit it off. What a fantastic person, lovely human being. And as I learned from Shiv, my friend, that he has had a bit of ill health, so he's not here. I pray to God that he recovers fast and comes back and take the reins of the institute once again and takes it to the next levels. Thank you, Richa. Thank you, Shiv. And thank you, JKBS Business School, for having me here. Now coming to the topic, next market. All the marketing professionals here would know this is something which is 30% of the work of the market leaders all along. Whether it was 1980s when I entered industry, when it was 90s, at any given time you are planning for future. At one time there used to be one word called sales, which got further elaborated and broken up into sales and marketing. Right? That marketing also got broken into other factors such as creating brands, creating networks, creating identities, appealing to customers. But one big part of marketing has always been looking into the future, trying to assess future. Because, and all my industry colleagues would know, every year in our strategy meetings in our individual companies, we are supposed to present what is the plan for the next 5 years. The 5-year strategic plan, which is something which is very common in the industry. Frankly, we make it. Why only 5 years? Because beyond that it is in any case impossible to even imagine something in the fast changing world of today. Now, this has always put a question in my mind. What is market next? How to do it? And I'll just, somebody will help me. Okay. So what is missing here are two things. This is not purple. In my slide it is orange, the Conti orange which I fall in love with when I joined Continental. Second, the heading there is missing, which is the topic of today, next markets. And underneath, the $1 billion question. All businesses, all industries are looking at ultimately profits. And profits which sustain them, the people with them, and contribute to the society and development of almost everybody who is associated with it. So all industry does, they may do it directly, they may do it indirectly, providing employment, taking care of households, giving careers to people. Profit is the key. And that's what, when you guys will enter into your professions, ultimately this is what you'll do every day. What you do, What's your responsibility? How you will do it? How will you maximize profits? Now, predicting next markets, the billion-dollar question, and we have all lived it, and we are living it, and you will live it. What is it? Is it pure crystal gazing? Or pure data and economic trends based projections? With my experience, little bit of experience, I think it's a mix of both, coupled with a constant assessment of opportunities and risks. Because opportunities also exist in future and risks also are there in future. So you have to keep a track of that, mix it with the trend indicators, data, available data, customer data, changing customer psyches, requirements of that, competition, actions therefrom. I mean, it's a multitude of things. Actually, I couldn't really project the number of graph lines you need, which is here because this was the only one which I could find. But believe you me, when you are making projections for future, you really have to go all through this gamut. And why I say it's not pure crystal gazing, but it is crystal gazing because human beings are inherently hopeful. Even in the worst of the times, if a leader is presenting a 5-year strategic plan and you are running through some major disruption in the market, some major issue, what you will see is that maybe next 6 months or 1 year he would possibly show you a downtrend which is imminent, and at the end of 2 years you will find that things start improving again. The beauty is this, and I will quote tire industry here. So tire industry has a replacement market, stately has a defined marketplace. Nobody buys tires for, come on, let's go and go to a mall and buy a tire today, I feel like buying a tire. It's a grudge buy. गड्डी नहीं चलनी करिए की, खराब हो गया टायर, लगाना है. It's a grudge buy, like life insurance. There is a definite market. It cannot be increased, it cannot be shrunk. All the players therein are fighting tooth and nail for a share in that market. Alright? But all those teams and leaders in their strategy meetings are showing that next 5 years their market share is going to increase. And if I add all of that up, you will find that it is double of what the whole market size is expected to grow to. So that is the inherent hope, which is human nature. Not because to please the bosses, no, that's not the point. I mean, I won't be doing the day I decide that I am not going to be able to do it or increase my business or increase my profits, revenue, etc., I am in the wrong chair. I am not doing the right thing. So hope mixed with, of course, a lot of actions. All this is the mix which goes into looking into the next markets and trying to find some sense there and plan. I won't be going into too much data, etc. here. It's all available on Google and ChatGPT. In your free time, instead of reading fiction, go through that. It helps, especially the people in the real side. Okay. Now, current market environment, as I see, we are in a fantastic situation, but faced with significant risks also. India as the market, if you look at it today, we are perhaps the best placed in the world. So here I am limiting myself to talking about the Indian markets and not about the global markets, because it's too vast a subject and I have never led any company at a global level. I have only done it at an India level primarily and then APAC level. If you look at India, you have a stable economy. Last week, the Sensex fell by 3,200 points, 5%. Yesterday it jumped up by 800 points, which only shows the resilience. A Sensex is an indicator of a bit of speculation, but eventually companies doing well. The third quarter results are in, and the expectation that they will sustain that and take it forward. We all know that there have been talks about the Sensex hitting 100,000 in by 27 or 28 or something like that. So, hope and the situation. We have a very stable economy today. We have forgotten about pandemic. Nobody even thinks about it now. And it is good we don't. Because that is the beauty again of human mind. You will not remember the negatives which happened with you in past. You will not remember the accidents you were in. What you will remember are the good things, because that is the only way to go forward and live. You know all these things, nothing great about it, but it only gives a reassurance that when you are trying to look into the next market, you are on a solid platform, a growing platform, and the globe is looking at you, investing into you. So this country, even if they are able to arrest their population growth, which is generally doubtful, still you will be a big sizable market with a great growth opportunity, which is very, very necessary. At the same time, what are the risks around? Right now, we all are aware of it. What's happening in the Europe and Middle East, these wars, they don't help the globe at all. They don't help any country's economy. Everywhere the purchasing power is coming down, US inflation shooting above 5%, people buying power coming down, which means the less need of goods. Another challenge for marketing people, especially product marketing, I would say, because that's where I belong to. Not so clued up on the IT and ITES and all. Little bit of an idea there only, which puts pressure on the companies which are export oriented. Raw materials, supply chains disruption, this is all possible if these wars escalate or new wars come into the play, which again, the raw material supplies, costs can get disrupted. At the same time, the manufactured goods supply can get affected. These are things which you can only take to some extent into your considerations while looking into the markets. Nobody can predict the market 100%. Otherwise, it will be a beautiful life for a sales and marketing leader. It never is. And we all know that we are having more and more strain at the diplomatic level amongst countries. Most unexpected was the recent one which we had with Canada. Fortunately, day before yesterday, they've started giving visas again. I'm slightly more close to it because my daughter stays there. But this is increasing. Every nation is fighting. Every nation is fighting for their own people, their industry, and that is where these things are happening. These are the risks, very difficult to quantify and build into your projections, but have to be considered. You cannot completely avoid them and still keep a charter to grow. To conclude, this is a beautiful saying by Peter here. Peter H. has been a physicist, a writer, an entrepreneur. So the old adage used to be that change is the only constant. But he changed it to that we are living towards incredible times where the only constant is change. And the rate of change is increasing. This I can completely vouch for, because in the last 4 decades, what I've seen is the amount of disruptions, the amount of changes, the pace of changes has been changing drastically. In 70s, 80s, 90s, things were a lot more. There used to be changes, but not that. But today, with the technology cutting through, the new ideas, the AI, the new demanding customer, the challenge of reaching out to customer mind space, this is all on a very different level. And today, amongst the panels, you gentlemen will be discussing your experiences. How do you manage these things? I'm not here to get in there. I'm only here to urge you to give it your best in the discussions today and let yourselves as well as all the present students who are the future business leaders gain from those values, those valuable insights for a successful India tomorrow. Thank Thank you very much, JK Business School. Thank you very much, Richa ji. Thank you very much, Professor Tyagi. Thank you, Shiv, for having me here today. Won't take any more of your time. I think you'll have way more valuable discussions going into panels. So, the last thing which I have to say to my young friends in the rear seats here. So I was to be there also way back in maybe 70s. And at times what used to happen that I used to lose interest. Because it was all in future. The people here will be talking about future. And you have 10 other interesting things to think about, to talk about, or look into your phone and doing this and that. It's always a challenge. But I would say please do sustain, please listen to them. Because they will give you such values which will hold you in a great stead when you are in their position in times to come. Good luck to you all. All success to the Marketing Conclave today. And one simple thing, how you can manage the change is right here. Don't get too complicated. Keep on working on the loop and it will succeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. That was quite insightful. Before moving further, I would like to apologize to our keynote speaker and the guest of honor. I was so excited to listen to both of them that I forgot to formally welcome them. So I would like to request our Dean, Dr. Richa Dhaya, to kindly felicitate Mr. Prashant Kumar, our keynote speaker. And now I would request Professor Vikram Tyagi to kindly felicitate Dr. Pramod Joshi with a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, sir. And now it's time for our guest of honor, Dr. Pramod Joshi, to grace us with his expertise. But before doing that, I would like to say a few words about him. Dr. Pramod Joshi is a remarkable individual known for his diverse talents and unwavering principles. His life is characterized by a secular, liberal, and fun-loving attitude, reflecting his adventurous and happy-go-lucky nature. Dr. Joshi holds a deep commitment to truth and is averse to pretentiousness, self-indulgence, and manipulation. He is a staunch supporter of young achievers, often guiding them on less traveled paths. Beyond his professional life, Dr. Joshi is a man of many interests. He enjoys meeting people from all walks of life and readily engages in outdoor and indoor sports activities with like-minded individuals. His love for reading, writing, cooking, singing, trekking, and playing pranks showcases his multifaceted personality. Professionally, Dr. Joshi has made significant contributions to various organizations. He currently serves as a strategic advisor at Specky Fox Technologies India Private Limited, where he has played a crucial role in its transformation into a versatile software services and products provider. He also acts as an advisor and mentor at Ekjar Technologies Private Limited, focusing on developing strategies and nurturing a strong HR culture. In addition to his corporate roles, Dr. Joshi actively participates in educational and charitable initiatives. He serves as a board trustee at Sia Kothari Memorial Charitable Trust and is a member of the board of advisors at Mahabodhi International Meditation Center in Leh. He plays an essential role in the field of higher education, serving as a member of the board of management at Indus University and an advisor to the Chancellor at GLA University. Dr. Joshi is also the co-founder and chief strategy officer of Ecolabs Infomics Limited, where he combines his background in information technology with a passion for excellence in education. Notably, he is the founder and partner of the Winning Mantra, a venture dedicated to bridging the gap between academia and industry by offering focused mentoring and training to aspiring professionals. His commitment to education is further demonstrated through his role as a research scholar at the Department of Business Economics, University of Delhi, and as an advisor for strategic initiatives at BIMTech. Dr. Pramod Joshi's professional journey is marked by a profound commitment to education, innovation, and the betterment of society. His tireless efforts in various advisory roles and charitable activities reflect his unwavering dedication to making a lasting impact in the realms of education, business, and beyond. Sir, I welcome you on the dais.
A very good morning to all of those seated on the dais, and of course the faculty members, staff, and most importantly the students of JK Business School. I am faced with the same conundrum as PK. Hearing that introduction, I was wondering whether it was written by somebody who has written for Bollywood and Hollywood. It was extremely flattering. And I think if you were to take it with a bag of salt and then discount it another 100%, you will get to what I am. So I don't pretend to be a great expert in marketing. There have been many before me. I was just a small player. And I see some young people here that I met earlier today at the boardroom. And I know that they are right now there in the battlefield, and you will possibly learn much more from them than from me. But I will try to use this opportunity to trigger some thoughts in you. Some of it might have been known to you, and some of it I just want you to start thinking. The topic for today, at least when I first heard it, it was the new market. So I started in my head thinking about what I could speak, and then I saw an email which said the next market. So rather than battle between new and next, I said the new and the next can all be combined, and both of them present challenges to us. So I have tried to make my presentation more as a thought ignition for young minds. The experts and the seniors here can easily go off to sleep for the next 20 minutes or so. They will not miss anything. So let me first start by complimenting you on a great campus. It's good to be here. From the outside, one can never tell what's deep within this B school, at least geographically. So I drove about 65 kilometers from Noida. I started early, which was a good thing, because I was here about 30 minutes before my scheduled arrival time of 10 a.m. Also, the drive was very good. So I'm going to also say why good, why it's good to be here. Weather is good. Do you agree? It's great weather. I mean, it could have been raining. It could have been in June, very hot, but today's weather is perfect. It was a good commute for me. I did this in, I think, about an hour and 10 minutes. There were no traffic jams, which is a luxury in NCR. And arriving here, of course, I had a little bit of a challenge. I messaged to Rajiv that I'm going to be early. Please let them know at the gate. But Google Maps is to blame, not me. It asked me to take a U-turn coming in from the Gurgaon side. I took a U-turn, and it said you are there. I got off the car. I couldn't see anything resembling a B school. Then I drove. I drove to the nearest petrol pump. I asked a guy, the attendant, "Yahan koi JK Business School hai?" He knew it, and he said, "Hai. Aapko wapas jana hai. You have to go under that flyover, go 1 kilometers in." He knew the distance too. And he said, "Then you will find a board for JK Business School and you will be there." So I followed his instructions. I came, kept looking. Finally, I had to ask 3 boys on the roadside, and they said, "Yes, you are on the right track. Just go ahead and you will find it next to," they mentioned a name. I'm forgetting the name, Prakriti or something like that. Which eventually turned out to be a multi-speciality hospital, which is in your neighborhood, and they said it's right after that. So I was delayed by about 5 minutes, but I made here in good time. And when I started walking in and the students took me for tree planting, I realized that there is a lot of land here. And then I saw the hostels. Now that was very enthusing. I asked how many are hostlers, and the 4 people that escorted me for the tree plantation were all hostlers. Okay, they were from Lucknow, Meerut, Ranchi, and one more. I'm forgetting. So it was good to see that this place is full of people who have come from all over the country to study management. Good ambience. I don't have to speak about that. Good people. I met about 7-8 experts. Everybody was a great pleasure to talk to. The students, of course, all good people here. Good arrangements so far, no complaints. Good hospitality, good format. I like the format. Even in the opening, I see that there's a gentleman who has done product marketing, and I've done only services. I've only bought tires in my life. I've never sold them, right? I was in the software, and he said, IT YT ka mujhe zyada pata nahi hai, right? So I only sold to, by the way, I went to Apollo Tires long back for an IT project. I was in Delhi, and as he said during the boardroom interactions, most of this industry is owned by Sikhs, right? And so it was, I forget the exact project, but I went to Nehru Place. There was an office of Apollo Tires there. So I have only supplied services in my life and marketed services. So I like the format. There is a lot of diversity. That point is made. I saw the background of the speakers. Boston Scientific, some people are from other areas. So you will get to really learn a lot if you keep your eyes and ears open. I think PK made another point, right? When we were your age and we were sitting there, some of us would doze off or focus on, the evening plans, etc. If you can try and see if you can pay attention to the people here. Not everything will be gold, but you might miss out something that will eventually make meaning after 2 years or 3 years. Not everything will make sense today. I think it's a good topic, and I'll tell you why, at least in my opinion. I think it's a good topic because it talks of newness. Anything that is new generally excites people. Would you like to go to a new place or to the same place you've been going to? Okay, how many of you are really thrilled at the idea of going to a new place? Raise your hands. Okay, I should have raised mine too. I love going to new places, and even if I am going to the same place, I like to take a new route to get there. Newness, I think, is exciting. This envisions the future, right? I mean, you can't be talking about the new or the next market without gazing into the future. And as was said by PK, it's never easy to gaze into the future. 5 years is tops. And beyond that, it's only people like Elon Musk and maybe Steve Jobs and a few others in India as well who can try and envision the future beyond that. It forces us to exit our comfort zone. Do you know what is a comfort zone? Anybody? Let's make it interactive. I know I have 20 minutes, but anybody who can tell me what is a comfort zone? Come on, guys. BBA, BCA, PGDM. Okay, take a guess. Take an uneducated guess. Raise your hand. Yes, please. No, there's one at the back. Can you be louder? Something different that you haven't done before, that you don't feel comfortable with, right? For many of us, growing up in the 70s, talking to a member of the opposite sex was going outside our comfort zone. Today, no more. But yes, it was. We were very shy. So today, the comfort zone might be technology. You have a friend who is very good with technology. Your comfort zone is just the Excel and the PowerPoint and the Word that you know. So this topic, I think, is good because it takes us beyond our comfort zones. It is tantalizingly uncertain. As soon as you talk about next or new, you don't know what might exist. It's tantalizing. It's uncertain, but it is not unnerving. It is tantalizing. Do you know the meaning of the word tantalizing? You get hooked. You say, hey, what might there be in this future? Okay, we already have seen some uncertainty here. Doesn't matter. It's a good topic because it also asks us many questions. We start thinking about what might be required in those uncertain times. It is challenging. So I think I feel good to be here for those reasons I mentioned earlier. I think it's a good topic which will get you beyond your routine classroom lectures. You have speakers from the industry, from a wide cross section, and I hope you will be really immersed in a new experience. And it may not be immediately relevant to you, but as you get into your classes and start reflecting on what you hear today, I think some dots will connect. And frankly, life is all about connecting dots, and marketing even more so. I have fortunately got the chance in the Tata Group to work in HR, in finance, and sales and marketing. And then when I became the managing director of a company, it was easy for me to look at all those functions. So I can tell you that connecting the dots is where a marketer becomes really good at. Okay, the second part, I'm sure you'll agree, is the value of intuition. The value of intuition is another thing that you will learn when you go to marketing. And it doesn't happen over the first 2 years or 5 years. It takes about 20 years of being a good marketer to be able to intuitively figure out things and to create plans that have a very strong component of logic, of sentiment, emotion, and all the things that make marketing such an exciting sphere to be in. I know some of you are going to specialize in HR, some in finance, some in ops, some in systems. So this conclave you might think is not for you, but I can tell you one thing: if you have mastered the art of marketing, you will benefit in all those domains, whether it is supply chain, whether it is finance, whether you work for a startup. I do a lot of mentoring of startups, and one thing I've seen in India is people are in love with their product, but they don't give enough weightage to the marketing aspect of things. And that's why many startups fail. They have a great idea, great product, but when it comes to understanding the market and the way to reach the market, they tend to fall flat. Yesterday I was doing my first call with a Hyderabad-based startup, and they were going all over the place about their idea, what they're going to build, AI, algorithms. But when I asked them very fundamental questions about who your customer is going to be, how are you going to reach them, what about competition, they really didn't have too many answers. They wanted me to be a mentor. So I asked them a question. I have not said no, but I did ask them, why do you want me as a mentor? You are in Hyderabad. You will get lots of senior people who would be very good mentors to you. In fact, one of my IIM Bangalore batchmates is the CEO of T-Hub. T-Hub is one of the biggest and the best incubator out there in Asia. And Srinivas, we call him MD of course, he was not only my batchmate at IIM Bangalore, but hostel mate, and within the hostel, the block mate. You know, we have different blocks, so he was in the same block. So I said, you know, I can connect you to him. But they said, they gave two reasons. The first reason was, just flattery, but that I discounted. The second they said was, because you have, in the last 15 years, been doing a lot of work in higher education. Their solution had to do with the learnability curve. So they wanted to use AI to accelerate the learnability curve of students, learners in any subject. Tall claim, and I told them so. But they said, because you have been in this field for the last 15 years, I think you would make much more sense than somebody in Hyderabad for them. So I said, your first point, I am discounting. Your second point makes sense. I can connect you to vice chancellors. I can connect you to CEOs of learning organizations. And I think for a startup, the first introduction into a prospect is very important. Would you agree? How many of you plan to have startups after 1 year, 2 years? Raise your hands. Okay, maybe the number is small, and I don't blame you. In these VUCA times, you got to make sure that your bread is coming regularly, and then you can look at starting something. Okay, I think I'm back to my main 2-3 slides, not more. These business challenges are known to you because you read about them. You hear about them, maybe from an uncle who just got laid off from a job. The challenging times today, the business challenges are accelerating. Challenge is a word that hides change within it. So things are changing, and therefore it's also challenging. We are sailing in uncharted waters, almost like 300, 400 years back, when people didn't know where a particular landmass was, and then they sailed, and they may get to their destination that they had hoped to, or they may end up at a completely different place. Can you tell me the one biggest accidental discovery in the world in the last 500 years? Accidental discovery. This gentleman didn't set out to find that place and landed at another place. Anybody? Come on, guys, make a guess. There are no negative marks. Cat mein hota hai, isme nahi hai. Absolutely. You knew the answer, right? What did he accidentally discover? India? Absolutely. Mock that. A no answer you might want to mock, but a wrong answer you should never mock. So I'll ask you one very quick question. You knew it. What took you 7 extra seconds to say it? Fear of failure, fear of ridicule, fear of people saying, hey, ye kya bol diya isne? So as a marketer, as a salesman, the one thing you need to learn is to handle that fear of failure. Just say it. You might be close, you might not be. And by the way, opportunities don't wait. So sometimes it's just the timing that throws you off. I know we talk about marketing as a way of, creating wants, meeting the needs of customers. But I think today, more than ever, you will not only have to fulfill the need of the customer, you will have to make it snappy. You will have to make sure that your customer has the time to enjoy your product or service, and you don't want him waiting. So next time, in the next 7 hours, 6 hours, people ask you questions, don't wait too much. Don't fear, what will happen. Nothing will happen. Nobody's going to take your arm or leg or, fail you or get you ejected from the business school. The risks of failures are far lower than what you imagine. As a manager, you got to remember that. All right. So this is possibly the worst of VUCA times, to beat all VUCA times. Pandemic, 3 years, 2 years. We have forgotten, yes, but the after effects haven't gone. After effects haven't gone. It's going to take some time. Competition is all over, right? I think you can say it's above my head, it's on my sides, and it is below your feet. There is competition out there that you don't even know exists, because there is some guy in a garage who is making a formula for a shampoo that Hindustan Unilever doesn't know about. All right? So Patanjali was like this dark horse which came in, of course, with some help from the powers that be. And you look at their business, they've galloped far ahead. One of my juniors from ITBHU, he went on to do his executive MBA at IIM Ahmedabad. He went to Patanjali as a turnaround specialist about 4 years back. So I do have some insights from there. So competition is something you got to really look at in the next markets, in the new markets. Okay, never underestimate anybody. Unique selling proposition, USP, is still needed. Even more so. Today's markets are so uncertain that your USP might have to change, evolve much faster than it did 30 years ago. All right. Marketing models need to keep evolving to factor in this VUCA future. You can't have one model, one strategy and say, okay, we are done for the next 5 years. Sometimes even the annual strategy gets fine-tuned after 6 months. Just this morning, I was on a call with a US businessman. This is a guy who works in a system. They are trying to commercialize sports in India. I'm a big fan of sports. I play actively. This morning, the one thing I was happy about everything else, but I had to give up my morning volleyball game in Noida. So, I came here sacrificing that for you. I'll play tomorrow morning, but fortunately I've arranged. I've got some juniors in Gurgaon, so I've brought my shorts and shoes and all. So this evening I'm going to play with them. So they are trying to commercialize sports in India. US, if you go to the US, you've been in Canada, sports is huge. You know, I was in Madison where my daughter is doing her PhD in neuroscience. For the last 3 months I was there. And I went to a game both in LA and in Madison. Football game, American football, not the soccer we talk about. Those guys pay upwards of $70, $100 for a game. And it's packed, jam-packed. And can you imagine, you know, I was talking to a friend who is doing a startup on sports data analytics. So he is taking all the data of American football at the university level and using AI to bring insights from that data. And he was telling me the University of Alabama is the one university that puts out the best American football players in USA. And you know how much the coach, the main football coach there, I think his name is Nick something, I've forgotten. He makes $20 million a year. 4 times or 5 times than anybody else, the highest position there. So in a sports crazy country like that, marketing is something that is very implied in everything they do. I guess in about 10 to 15 years, I'm looking at the future. Some of you who are fond of sports, look at sports marketing. Already we have many leagues, but that's not enough. Our university leagues are very poor. There's a huge opportunity. So this morning I was talking to Keith. We are setting up merchandise stores in universities. Maybe JKBS can have one merchandise store in the future. So we have the university in Mathura that I advise. We have got a brand called Gladiators. It's GLA University. So I gave them this word Gladiators. And so Gladiators is the logo. And you know, it's a whole thing. And then you need merchandise stores. You market the brand. So I'm just telling you that the future model of marketing is going to be evolving every day. So Mr. Keith doesn't know that there is Diwali here in India. I told him you got to open the store before Diwali. So he says, what is Diwali? I told him it's a festival, and if you have your merchandise before the students go off on their vacation, you are likely to have a good opening. If you open after they are back, they've spent most of their money. So you know, I'm just telling you that today, more than ever, you will need to look at these challenges. And I think my last thing has gotten off the slide. What I was trying to say is the formula for success is that there is no formula of success. If somebody tells you, I know it, come to me, I'll give you the formula of success, be wary. Because there is no formula of success. You've got to keep evolving it. You have to keep using your gray cells to respond to those challenges. Last slide, some thought ignition for you. It's all in one slide. I won't even cover all of it because time is short. I want to leave you with some words. Now you figure out what else is there. Some marketing triggers for you. On the left side, you will see just a word, and on the right are some responses, some factors that in the next market you might have to look at differently. For example, size. Which do you think is the largest retailer in the world? Anybody can guess? Revenue-wise. Walmart. Absolutely. Fantastic. Any other retailers that come to your mind? Large format retailers. Have you heard of IKEA? It's come to India. I think their 3rd store is coming up in Gurgaon, maybe. I'm not very sure. But Hyderabad is where they started. So size can be an area where your next markets, when you guys start looking at new markets or next markets, look at size. What does, there are hole in the wall outlets which have a great name. You said you're from Lucknow, right? I'm sure when you go to eat kebabs, you don't go to a fancy place. You go to a small place in, where is that? Tunde Kebab? You are a vegetarian, I guess. Absolutely not. Okay. So, you were like looking at me. I said, maybe I've touched the wrong nerve. आजकल वेजिटेरियन से नॉन-वेज की बात करो तो उससे वो खफा हो जाता है. आजकल खफा होने वालों की संख्या बहुत बढ़ गई है. For every small thing, somebody is getting offended. So I love PK because he never gets offended. And marketers never get offended. Why don't marketers get offended? Because they've seen everything. They've been there, done that. So look at size and start thinking, what size am I talking about? Zero size might also be there. I mean, there are zero footprint outlets that do a great amount of business. Look at structure. How are you structuring your marketing strategies? I mean, structure can also mean of the market. There are organized markets, there are unorganized markets. Somebody was telling me that I think there was a survey done in some city, maybe Kanpur, I think. Yeah, Kanpur. So apparently they found that there are 10 thelawalas there who are multimillionaires. They are thelawalas. You know what is the meaning of thelawala? It's unorganized. They have just been selling. Of course, they don't have to report their sales. They don't have to pay any taxes. They keep saving money, investing, and they are rich beyond any of us, including the people here. So unorganized sector, organized sector, you can have blended models, network structures. Network marketing got a very bad name thanks to people who misused the power of the idea. But it does work. It does work if done ethically. Complexity can be another trigger for you guys. Is the new market necessarily complex? You might be lulled into thinking, yes, everything is complex in the new market. But guess what? There are some very simple formulas that are taking people to success. When Dell came into the market for laptops, what do you think they did? What was something that they were not the first, they were not the second, they were not the third. What do you think they did differently? Anybody who has read about these marketers? Dell computers? Take a guess, because the last two guesses were actually correct. 3 seconds left. Okay, so Dell actually did what? They didn't say, here is my product, here is a discount, go buy it. They said, what do you need? You need this much RAM, you need this much hard disk, you tell us, we will build it in our factories and ship it to you. That was a huge game changer. So go read about it. Of course, it was not easy. There is finance involved. But in exchange for giving the customers what they want, they asked them to pay in advance. So they went into negative working capital. They had the money before they built the product. So read about it. I'm sure there'll be business cases in your courses about it. Purpose, is it profit? I know PK talked about profit. Very important. No organization can really survive if you don't make profit. Then you are only working on hand-me-downs or foundations, etc. But there are some people who make profit, but they also want to make an impact. And for them, the impact is more than the profit. My company, the Winning Mantra, is one such. I set out to make an impact for young students in colleges of B-grade towns. Metros I knew had good exposure. But when it comes to Meerut, Mathura, Gwalior, Shimla, I felt the students there needed the helping hand with their placements. So I created a company called the Winning Mantra along with my friend who is IIT Kanpur, I am Bangalore. We both gave up our jobs and we said we will try and guide those youngsters, get them better communication skills, get them how to face interviews. You know, there are people with great technical knowledge, but when it comes to sitting in an interview, they just don't seem to get what will get them through that hurdle. So for the last 15 years, we have made an impact possibly across 20,000, 25,000 students. Not all of them impacted greatly, but some of them, I think, a lot. They still are in touch with us. So your motive, your purpose can be different. Anyway, time is short. I don't want to go through it. If you want, you can take a picture and sit back. जो कहते हैं ना जुगाली करना, भैंस क्या करती है? पहले तो सब कुछ खा लेती है, उसके बाद आराम से बैठ के जुगाली करती है. आप भी जुगाली कर सकते हो. Okay. I wanted to touch upon the job market because we are talking of markets. We talked about product, services. Some people will talk about digital marketing. But one market that all of you are interested in is the job market. The job market is fascinatingly dynamic today. I was in Seattle last month visiting a friend who used to work in Microsoft. Guess what? He worked in Microsoft India, then went to Microsoft Redmond, Seattle. Then, after working with them, he left to start a marketing consulting company. And guess who was his first customer? Microsoft. So he started selling his services to Microsoft as an outsider. He built a company of 15 people, and then guess what? He sold it to a company based in California called Infogain. You must have heard of it. Infogain bought his startup. Why? Because they wanted to be doing business with Microsoft, but they didn't have the vendor code. For them, it was easier to get a startup which had the vendor code than to build that relationship. So this friend of mine, Sudev, he's made a ton of money, and now he's gone back to work as a vice president. He's gone back. I mean, he ran his own company. He's gone back to work, and he's reporting to a 40-year-old. My friend is 62. That's one good thing about the US and the West. You know, they don't care about all these things. So he was telling me the job market in the US is very hot for 60 plus people. Note PK. Why? I asked him why. Why aging people? He says the youngsters are not interested in a full-time job. They are doing gigs here and there. Some of them are saying we don't want to work. We will do whatever we want. So they don't have stability. So big companies, corporations are looking at white hair, and he said the next 10 years is going to be, and in the US there is no retirement age. I hope you know that. Professors are teaching till the age of 85, 90, 100. All right? So good news for some of those youngsters here who are going to retire in 20 years. I don't know, things might change by then. But it's good times for people who are on the right side of 60. I won't say wrong side. All right. So I think I'll skip this. I've taken too much time. If there are any questions, I can answer, but we can also take it during the later part. This is my profile. I think my profile here is a short one. What was given to you was much more elaborate, and even I had to really listen very hard to recognize myself. Okay. Open forum in case there are one or two questions. If there is time, if the chair permits, take it in the panel discussions. Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I enjoyed being here. I just want to tell you one thing. Don't go to sleep. The best is yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words. I thank both Mr. Prashant Kumar and Dr. Pramod Joshi for addressing us. And now I would request our Dean, Dr. Richa Dhaya, to present the memento to our keynote speaker, Mr. Prashant Kumar. Kindly. Please, big round of applause. And I would request Professor Vikram Tyagi to present the memento to Mr. Pramod Joshi. Thank you so much, sir. Now we'll be starting our first plenary session, and I'll be introducing the guest. But before that, kindly bear with us for 2 minutes before we make the arrangements. Thank you so much. You are all requested to take teas and cookies. due to certain prior commitments, Mr. G. Thakkar won't be joining us in the panel discussions. But I would like to request Professor Sabah Jafri to kindly present him with the bouquet of flowers and the memento as a token of thanks. I would request you all to have a big round of applause.
I'm really sorry I have to go. I have some prior commitments which I had mentioned, and I'd love to speak to you guys sometime later in any other conclave. But thank you so much for having me here.
Mr. G. Thakkar is a seasoned professional currently in the role of Sales Finance Controller at Hilti, India. With over 14 years of experience, he has excelled in financial planning, budgeting, forecasting, business finance, financial modeling, and more. Mr. Thakkar's career journey with one of the world's top wine and spirits seller include leading finance in different regions and currently serving as lead country pricing and strategy. It was a great pleasure to have you, sir. We'll expect you to visit our campus soon. Now we'll be starting the first plenary session, and allow me to introduce and invite the guest on the dais. Mr. Arun Malhotra, a board member at the Indian Institute of Management, has a distinguished career in the Indian automobile industry. He has held significant positions at renowned companies like Bajaj Auto, Maruti Suzuki, Mahindra & Mahindra, and Nissan India, where he served as managing director from 2014 to 2018. Mr. Malhotra's expertise lies in sales and marketing, with the focus on brand building, strategic marketing, and retail expansion. I would request the designated student officer to present the bouquet to Mr. Arun Malhotra. Sir, Mr. Sandeep Jain is a seasoned professional currently holding the position of head OE and 4S business at Yokohama, India, with over 2 decades of experience. He has showcased his expertise in developing innovative sales strategies, creating effective sales structures, managing sales teams, distribution networks, and channels across various industries such as FMCG, FMCD, consumer electronics, media, edtech, and fintech in both urban and rural markets on a national scale. We welcome you, sir, on the dais, and I would request designated student officer to present the bouquet to Mr. Sandeep Jain. Mr. Indra Narayan Das, Chief Revenue Officer at HT Media, is a seasoned sales and marketing professional with diverse experience across consumer goods, telecommunications, media, and healthcare. His career highlights include leading revenue functions for multiple categories and key accounts, driving ad sales across various platforms, and fostering growth and efficiency in business operations. We welcome you, sir, on the dais, and I would request designated student officer to present the bouquet. Mr. Udit Sethi, a partner at KPMG, is a seasoned strategy professional with a diverse background. He has a rich history of working with industry strategy teams and consulting organizations across various sectors and geographies, delivering transformative engagements in strategy and operations, often leveraging digital and enterprise IT technology for value creation. We welcome you, sir, on the dais, and I would request the designated student officer to present the bouquet. Ms. Sanskriti Kumar Khanna. Ms. Sanskriti Kumar Khanna brings a diverse professional background with expertise in both Canada and India. In Canada, she served as an International Student Recruitment Officer at FCMT, guiding prospective students, assessing their capabilities, and advising on academic choices. In India, her career focused on advertising and event management, contributing to creative content, copywriting, TV commercial script writing, and client relations at top agencies like Ogilvy and Mather and Wiscraft. I would request the designated student officer to kindly present the bouquet, and I welcome you, ma'am, on the dais. Mr. Sudhir Dasamant Rao, currently serving as the Senior Director of Global Business Services and Chief Transformation Officer for APAC at Boston Scientific, brings over 20 years of finance experience to his role. His expertise spans shared services operations, transformation, quality, project management, and change management, covering finance, IT, insurance, banking, back office operations, and customer service management. With a global work background in Asia, the USA, and Europe, Mr. Dasamant Rao is known for his strategic thinking, innovative solutions, and a consistent track record of delivering exceptional results. I welcome you, sir, on the dais, and I request the designated student officer to welcome him with a bouquet. And I would request, sir, to moderate the discussions, and the session is yours, sir, and let's all have a big round of applause once again for the panel.
Good afternoon. I thought I'll start saying good morning when our panel was supposed to start, but good afternoon, everyone. So I think it's a great opportunity, and thank you for inviting us. I think one, I was initially thinking that we'll have a good diverse panel with two, women here, but we have. Thank you for you joining, be part of this diversity. I think most of the panels I attend, I see heavy of men on these panel discussions. So it's always good to see that diversity in these discussions. But I think one interesting aspect which you'll see here is, in this great panel, we have a very diverse industries as well. So each of these panel members, if you look at Udit from KPMG for consulting, Indra from media, and and then we have Arun and Sandeep coming from automobile. I come from medical device. So and then Sanskrit coming from Canada, but again your industry is more of research and college, right? So research. So I think there's great views you will get to hear. Before I think I pass it on and start with the panel members, when we look at marketing, right? So marketing, we heard today from our keynote speakers and our guest of honor about the marketing and long, lengthy stuff. But what is important is, there are companies who don't build the product and then look for customers, versus there are companies who build the product for the customers. In the first scenario, you need marketing. In the second scenario, you don't need marketing. Why? Because there are companies which I have seen, they don't market at all. Because their product is so compelling that people come to buy those products. And marketing, people think, is the marketing for customer, is it marketing for product, or is it marketing for the company? So a lot of questions people keep asking, right? And then if you look at in terms of the marketing content and the campaigns, what you see across various organizations, a lot of people focus on the content of the marketing, content of the ad. But what people forget is the context of that content. Because as people say, if content is a king, context is a kingdom. Unless you understand the customer, the audience, what the content is for, and that makes the difference. And every time we see the lot of ads coming in on the TVs and other things, some ads attract our attention, some don't. And the magic formula for that is the ads which are balanced between the content as well as the context. With that, I will open the floor with I'll request, starting my left, with Sankruti on, from each of your industry perspective, how marketing is defined in your industries. What different approaches you take. We'll start with that first question, if each one of you can take a few minutes to throw some light on that, and then we'll move on to the next set of questions. Is that okay? Thank you.
Talk about a different topic altogether. I'm from Canada, and I was here to talk about the opportunities and the challenges that international students are facing. So this is what I would like to throw some light on. Like the lady mentioned, my last assignment was with a college. I was working with Clare College of Management and Technology as an international student recruitment officer. And since 2021, I have I think most of the brief has been given to you. I did my schooling from Loreto Convent in India and pursued my English honors from Hindu College, Delhi University. After that, I worked with some of the leading advertising and event management companies. So up till 2014, I was here, and once I got married, I moved to Canada. It was a totally different experience. It was a new country for me. Life had to start from the scratch again. I had to settle down professionally all over again. And generally, when students, for the matter of fact, anybody who goes to Canada, they always have this phase of struggle that they face initially. And I had my share of that as well in the beginning. But once you crack your first job, there's no looking back. So 2016 is when I got my first job, and since then I have worked with colleges in the same capacity, like I said. 2021, I finally got into the most important role of my life, which is motherhood. So this is what my background has been like. Apart from that, I'm here to just inform. I know that there are a lot of students who in Canada, we have a lot of students coming every year from India, and all the students who are, and a lot of they have a lot of aspirations, dreams. So I have dealt with students on one-on-one basis, helped them with their enrollments, and try to understand what is it that they are looking for. So right now, firstly, I would like to give you a little brief on talk a little about the country. Firstly, Canada is a very immigrant-friendly country. So you can be rest assured that you will be very, very welcomed in that country. Once you come there, you will not face any kind of discrimination. You would rather be treated with respect, with dignity, and also as an equal. This is one of the reasons why Canada stands apart from many nations. Other than that, I would also like to highlight the fact that Canada offers a very high standard of living, which is one of the reasons why students or people from across the world want to move there and settle down. And thirdly, I would also like to highlight the fact that Canada has some of the best universities and colleges known in the world. So, okay, I'm sorry, this is my first time, please pardon me. I've not done an addressal before this ever. So also to let you know, Canada is very culturally, it's a culturally diverse country because there are people coming from all over the world. So you get great exposure to different communities. And also, the environmental conditions of the country are amazing. So now I would just go on and focus on the opportunities for international students in that country. If you have a good academic background and a good academic score, you can certainly make it to one of the best universities and colleges in Canada. Also, once you graduate out of those colleges and universities, you can be rest assured that you would get great employment opportunities over there. And also sometimes when you graduate out of that, if you are talented and successful, you can you can actually expect great packages at the starting level, actually very good salaries for the matter of fact. So that's one thing. Secondly, while you are studying or working there, you can alongside apply for permanent residency, which is which has been the trend usually. Most of the students move to that country to pursue a higher education and build great careers and then eventually settle down there for good. Sure. Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, Udit, please.
Am I audible, guys? Okay, great. So I think let's start with the first example of how good you could be at marketing. The lady sitting just to my right just gave that example. So I am just going to borrow from that example and say what we do for marketing in a Big Four. So KPMG, how many of you know what KPMG does for a living? That's great. So how many of you have heard about the Big Fours? Okay. Can anybody tell me which are the Big Fours? So you wanted to embarrass me with not saying that in the first go. Great. So with that, what we do at KPMG, consulting is a knowledge industry, which means the only way to market is if you look knowledgeable. So content is the king here. Context, obviously, like Sudhi said, is very, very relevant, right? Now, and between the context and the content, it is the opportunity for you to play with. Now, there's one question before I just move on with the mic. One question for all of you. Why do you have anybody realized that the candies business has gone down in India over the last 12 months? And what is the reason? Why do we have less toffees, candies being sold now? Anybody wants to give a guess?
As we know that few years back UPI came to India, and the majority of the candies used to be sell as in change, in terms of change. So I think that's that can be the one of the reason why candy falls down. The sales of the candies falls down.
Lovely. Can I take your name?
Rahul.
Can I have a round of applause for Rahul, please? So now that is an example of the context. The context why candies business is not doing well is not the competition, not the taste. It is UPI, right? The example of content is the lady sitting to my right. So with that, I'll pass on the mic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Udit.
So I'll address the question. You started with what does marketing mean to the various industries. So I come from a media house which is Hindustan Times, but it is beyond newspapers. And before this seminar started, I overheard Mr. Arun saying that apne company ke baare mein nahi bolna. So I will not talk about Hindustan Times, but I will tell you what marketing means to us. Because see, we are media, so we are a part of a company's media plan occasionally, right? Somebody wants to advertise, our print, digital, video assets are useful for that company to advertise. But what do we do as marketers? So one is, how do we market ourselves as advertisers? One is, how do we market ourselves as a platform for advertising? So if I look at that gentleman here who has been with me since morning, if I want him to get into our website, I will create a product that he finds palatable. If I look at any of the faculties here and I want them to read my newspaper, I will create a product or make the product palatable so that they read it. It is as simple as that. For in the media industry, mostly it is product marketing. Of course, there is a small part of brand. The brand plays in your head. When you look at Times of India, it's not just Times of India, it's all the assets that Times of India that plays into your head. But media, mostly we do probably 80% product, 20% brand.
Thank you, Indra. Sandeep.
Hi. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. Friends, marketing for me is how to reach to your customers or consumers. Okay, so you before going for marketing, one thing is for sure that you have a product or service which you are trying to market. Okay, so if you have the product or service, you are going to market it, how to market it. So basically, you are trying to reach to your customer. How are you planning to reach to customer? How to gain the space in the customer mindset, in the consumer's mindset. That's what marketing is. For that, there are various means and ways, and you do advertisement, you do brand building, you do a number of things to ensure that you are reaching to the right people. So in order to reach to the right people, right consumers, where your brand or your product or services could be consumed, I mean, this is a way of reaching there. Okay, this is what marketing is to me, as per my understanding. Okay, over to Arun sir.
Well, just to step back on marketing in the auto industry, today auto industry constitutes about 9% of countries' GDP and 50% of countries' manufacturing GDP. But marketing in auto industry, if you look at from 83, and I take 83 as a year, not because I started my career in 83, but that was the time when the revolution, the auto started. The industry in car industry today has grown by 66 times or 70 times, right, from 60,000 to 4 million. So marketing is seen from auto industry lens is awareness. You're creating an aspiration, you're creating availability, affordability, and then becoming the journey into the customer's life in terms of conviction, conversion, and the entire part of it. So marketing is clearly a challenge, if you ask in real terms, is creating opportunity share. Because if you look at just market share, you can get bogged down by the market. Opportunity share is where you create new segments, new categories, and that's the whole entire industry about. So opportunity share is the big lever for marketing creation. The second part in marketing, and especially in auto industry, is that marketing is just not about selling a particular product or a particular vehicle. Just to give an example, 80 to 90% of the profit of dealerships or 50% profits of companies don't come from just selling. They come from service, they come from spares, they come from finance, they come from insurance, they come from accessories, they come from used cars, and they come for re-reference. So marketing is all about long-term relationship and lifetime value. And if you go to old Hindi Bollywood songs, Janam Janam ka saath hai nibhane ko, fir janam lenge hum. So janam janam ki baat hai, that's marketing all about. So not customer for life, it's customer beyond life.
Arun, thank you. If you can hold the mic for some more time, so I'll just, you've been the industry veteran in automobile, and if you look at post-COVID, there are two industries which is just ramping up, predominantly the real estate and automobile. If you look at the automobile graph, given the competition in terms of the number of segments, gone are the days when you want to buy a car, it is a 5 minutes decision. Now you have to spend a lot of time in the research because you have too many options. In that kind of a competition, I don't know if you can throw some light, what kind of marketing strategies been driven, and then I'll cover that in other industries as well. How is that changed post-COVID in terms of the whole marketing strategies?
So one I think which is across industry and more for auto even, one realization has come to people after COVID: you only live once. So make the best of it today. That's driving the demand, that's reviving the aspiration part of it. But I think the bigger part of it, it's not that all the segments of auto are growing. If you look at two-wheelers, they're not growing to an extent. That's a different reason for it. But I think if you create more products, more choices, more aspirations, the market grows. So in marketing, what we see in auto is in segments where more choices are there, more products are there, more companies are there, that segments have grown. And where probably the products availability is less, it's not grown. Because then the companies will focus on. So people are not now talking of cities, they're not talking of states, they're not talking of districts, they're talking of tehsils. And you'll be surprised some companies are even talking of villages. So how do you penetrate? What is your unit of currency is divided? So that's the way automobile industry is looking at it. And then the lifetime value, how do you create a virtuous cycle?
Brilliant, thank you, Arun. Sandeep, your thoughts, please.
Yes, so as rightly said by Arun sir, after COVID, the situations have completely changed, markets have changed, and hence the ways of marketing have also changed. The way companies used to think, the way companies used to think has got changed now, and now we have to think differently. And in order to reach to the customers, we need to plan a different ways. Okay, we need to think of different means and ways of reaching customers. The demand is certainly going up, as said by sir. People think that now we are living here for once only, and after that, I mean, today it's there, tomorrow nothing is known, I mean, nothing is predictable. So people are willing to spend more on the goods and services which they think, going to help, going to improve our current ways of living, okay, current standard of living. So people are ready to spend on that. That is something which has changed. And in the evolving era of this thing, I mean, our marketing principles, marketing ways are also changing. So the complete thought process has changed, and accordingly our needs, the segments are also changing. So if earlier people were selling more of basic products, today it's all changed, and now thinking of getting into an era or getting into a segment where people are thinking of luxury, premium and all. And that is where the business is. So companies have to think that way and provide services or products which are going to cater to the premium segment rather than masses. That is where the marketing will play an important role.
Thanks, Sandeep. Indra, I think your industry is very different. Media, how is that concept of living once people can still live without the media if you look at, may not really, but in terms of your, the newspaper kind of segment. So how is you're looking in terms of the marketing strategies there?
So I think HT needs to market its digital assets a little better, because still many people, when they talk about Hindustan Times, you only think about the newspaper. But let me expand the canvas a little. 80s, okay? 80s, I think many of you would not have been born then. Newspapers were big, okay? And there was one channel, Doordarshan. And Doordarshan was, a sure shot guarantee of getting your TRPs. Many of you remember the teleserial called Surabhi, the kind of letters that they used to get, that itself was a proof of their viewership. Fast track into the 90s, mid-90s and early 2000, TV channels really mushroomed, and at one point in time, when we still didn't have this DTH, we had 100 channels, okay? Then TV had become big, newspapers were still relevant, okay? COVID, again, fast track into COVID. COVID has really transformed this entire industry, and I'll tell you why. Let's look at data. If I go by TAM ADX, which is you yourself can Google and find this data there, the media industry is still growing. It's 100,000, maybe probably greater than 100,000 crores in INR in the coming year, or this FY23. Out of which, for the first time, digital will cross 40%. Or probably it was 40% 5 years back, I don't know, but last 3 years data, this is the first time digital spend in media will cross 40%. Good news is that it is growing on its own. Sometimes growth happens at the cost of some other segment. So if I divide the media space into print, TV, digital, outdoors and radio, outdoors and radio are still, together they'll be 4 or 5%. TV has gone down or will go down by the end of this year by 2%. This entire gain of digital is at the cost of slightly print and slightly TV. Having said that, gone are the days where, a marketing campaign means, okay, I need these many TV ads, I need these many print ads, I need this much digital. Okay, that is a broad level planning that you do at the beginning of the year. Now it is all about solutioning. Right now there are clients or agencies who are coming to us saying that this is my problem. You give me all that you have. You have Fever, you have Radio Nasha, you have Hindustan Times, you have Hindustan, you have Mint, you have digital assets. You combine all this and give me a solution. And if they are not coming, we are going to them. Okay? So yes, answering your question, the entire media landscape has changed, but we are transforming, and anybody who has to survive has to transform. Okay? Okay, one last point. Even in digital, what digital meant 5 years back is no longer there. When I walked into this room in the morning, Pariniti is her name, right? She was standing here. Somebody was either making a video or photograph, and I was just saying to myself, by the time I sit, this will get uploaded in Instagram, and by now she would have got 100 likes. Okay, that's a different point, but the point I'm trying to make is, in digital, the video content has gone up by 40%. The growth last year was 40%. This year again it will have a strong double-digit growth. So media is evolving. In terms of digital is going up. Within digital, video is going up. So the question for any media house in the country today is, these are the changes that is happening. There is money to be taken in by a marketer or money to be spent by the marketer. For us and the clients who will advertise, are you ready for this change? That is the questions to be asked and answered.
Brilliant, Nindra. Thank you so much. Udit, from a services point of view, how do you see this?
Maybe let me cover where my consulting hat and the views here are personal, both from a product and a services side. Let me start with, when we're saying what has changed in marketing, let me talk about the enablers. Now, before COVID, vis-a-vis after COVID, what we've done is we've made leaps and bounds progress in technology. Now, what does that technology help us? That give us data. Now, since we have data and we have analytics on top of data, we have metrics, we know people better. Now, when we know people better, we understand their aspirations better. We know what will sell. We know what will sell at what price point. We know what may not sell, right? For example, unless it was for data, do you think anybody would have figured out that the candy sales is going down because of UPIs, right? Now, that's the difference in the pre-COVID and the post-COVID era. And let me give that one example to make it realistic to you. My first question to Mohit was, why is metaverse written here? And he told me that we call this conclave metaverse. How many of you understand the power of metaverse? Just a raise of hands. Guys, I expect a better response. It's your marketing campaign. I expect at least about a minimum of about 40 people to understand what does metaverse mean. Okay. So now that's a homework for you. Go and read about metaverse. What has changed pre-COVID to post-COVID? And I'll give you a lot of examples. Pre-COVID or during COVID, if you have to go buy a house, you have to actually go in person, see the house, look at what is happening and buy the house. Post-COVID, Mahindra Life Spaces has launched a metaverse app. That's one example. Let me talk about a second example. Now that's purely product. And I'll talk about 3-4 examples across industries. Now that's on the asset heavy side. Now, the second example would be anything to do with FMCG. See, today, most of you use Amazon to buy products, right? Now today, as soon as you click on Amazon, if you have to buy a sunglasses or you have to buy a watch, there is saying, look in AR. I don't know how many of you have evaluated that option, right? So now you can actually see how does that sunglasses look on you, or how does that watch look on your wrist. That helps you make that decision faster. So you now don't need to go to the point of sale before you want to buy. Now, this is how technology is enabling. The same is very relevant in the services industry. Imagine there is, let me talk about cyber attack as an example. Let me bring that. Today we know that there are cyber attacks, right? In the Russia-Ukraine war there were cyber attacks. In the Israel-Hamas war there are cyber attacks. Now, how do you visualize a cyber attack? It is very easy to say somebody hacked my system, but can you visualize? Now, as far as if there is a technology which the metaverse has a capability to do, can help you visualize how does that cyber attack happen in person. That helps people to take decisions effectively. If I move to the government side, looks at planning, for example. Imagine if somebody who was constructing this campus, at that time there was a technology called metaverse or AR, VR available. Somebody could have looked at a 3D model. Maybe this campus would have been architected very differently to it is now. Now, with that, I'll rest my point back to you.
Thank you. Sanskrit, do you want to comment anything on this question? Okay, great. Then, sir, I'll move on to the next question. I think, Udit, if you can stay on there for a little bit. If you look at the whole concept of marketing in the new digital era, it's evolving, right? Earlier, when you say marketing or sales, people used to say, oh, we should be closer to the customer. Now, with the digital, what is happening is, it is actually you're going far from the customer, but you know more about the customer sitting very far. So in each of your industries, if you can give some thoughts or your thoughts on how is this whole concept of marketing evolving in the new digital era, and some insights to the students and the audience here, from any specific to any specific industry you are into, or any other thoughts would be really helpful. Yeah, you can start. Okay. Then we'll move to.
Thank you, Sudhir. I think that's a very, very valid question. Now, what typically happens is the physical proximity, just to rephrase what Sudhir is saying, that physical proximity may have come down and we may be physically distant from the customer. But what we need to imagine and realize is the total number of channels of how we can reach the customer has multiplied. So that physical proximity has been replaced by the additional channels which we have. Something very, very simple. We have got mobile banking. We have PNB opening a retail branch in Metaverse. We have phone banking, right? And then we can go to a branch in person and have that experience. Now, the physical proximity is different, but understand at the point of sale, at so many places, you have a touch point with the customer using one or the other channel, which helps you understand the psyche of the customer. And that is the most relevant point here. If you understand what the customer wants, if you understand somebody logging in trying to transfer money and does not have the balance, that should trigger a system saying the person may need a personal loan. Simple. Now, it is very difficult to imagine that somebody may need a personal loan unless there is a trigger. Or if you realize somebody suddenly has got 10 lakh rupees into his account, right, as a one-time point against his credit history, then what do? You understand that he may need an investment. So you sell investment products, you may sell mutual funds. So see, the reason I'm taking different examples is I'm trying to cover industry so that you are all able to relate to it. But I'm saying this is how technology can enable you to understand data, which then helps you to aid marketing. So back to you.
Thank you, Udit. Indra?
Yeah. I love to give examples of movies and series. I don't know how many of you have watched this series a long time back, Person of Interest, on, I think it's Netflix or Amazon. It's an AI-based thriller, Netflix, right? And I watched this during COVID, jab kaam waam thoda kam tha. So, in this, there is a very interesting line where one of the key characters says that we wanted to get data about people, government said no. So we did nothing, we went and created social media. Now people are going by themselves and giving their data. The kind of insights are the kind of invasion of our personal space that has happened because of digital is scary. Okay, I know of auto clients who do social media campaigns, and where if they can figure out that my favorite color is red, the feed on my Facebook or whatever Insta page will have a red car, and if he is green, it will be a green car. So I think the physical distance notwithstanding, I think the kind of data that is now available is humongous. It in fact has given us a bigger challenge that how do we use this data properly, because that data is for everybody. That data is not something very private. Anybody can pay and get that data or create a system where that they can get the data. So I think there is a lot of data, and it is famously said, the next century or the next decade belongs to people who can manage data or who has access to that data. It is all about how do you manage that data to create better solutions. There is a lot of information available, probably exponentially higher than what it was 10 years or even 10 or 15 years back. So I think we have means to know the customers a lot. It is up to the companies to use those means properly, smartly, and get those insights.
Brilliant, thank you.
Just want to add just one more line. See, once you have data, all of what we hear about Gen AI, analytics, quantum, everything needs data. So if you have a data coming in, I think you're fairly sorted on what you need from that data.
Sandeep.
Yes, thanks. So if I talk about tire industry per se, if I look at say 10 years back, that time the task was different. The task on hand, for a marketer was completely different. That time it was more about, you have the product, you need to create some features, advantages, benefits which are already there. You need to communicate the same to the customers. Okay, and for that you had the retail stores, and then once the customer goes to a retail store, he is able to see the product and he is deciding there. For that you need to reach to him, and in order to reaching to him you had media, print media, then you had TV and radio, etc. Now today, if I look at this thing, the channel has completely changed. Today customers are not going to buy the product at a tire shop or at a retail shop. Many times they prefer to buy at an online store, okay, e-commerce platform. For that, what they are doing is that they just go and Google it, okay, the best tires. Now all those companies who are there providing tires, they would be able to, they are there online present, and then their features or their videos, product features, advantages, etc. are displayed there. Now the customer goes through all those things, and whatever he feels is the best for him, he picks up and then he orders online. Now not only that, today people prefer to save time and get the services done at their doorstep. So in order to do that, there are companies who are providing, or there are service providers who are providing these services at the customer's doorstep. So if I want to buy a tire today, I'll just place the order online. There will be a guy calling me up saying that, sir, we got to know about your order and we want to come and replace your tires. So tell us the address and location, etc., etc. Convenient time, and the company comes, the vehicle comes, they replace our tires. I don't have to go as a customer to a retail store. So in order, the entire buying process has changed. So in order to meet the current requirements, I need to create advertisements which are available on social media, which are available on all platforms where the customers go, or where they go and see the products. And similarly, as told, once I go for a tire today, if I want to say buy a tire, I go on a social media or any platform. I just need to type once tire. Okay, once I search for a tire, next time whenever I go to whichever site, the tires advertisements will automatically start coming. So there the role of the marketer has actually gone up. It has enhanced, and now he has to ensure that he is there wherever the customer is looking for the product. So for that, whatever changes required, they are doing, and hence the complete thing have changed.
And thanks, Sandeep. Arun, your views.
So, it's a very complex world. On one side, obviously digital. And as Fred mentioned, he's from the media, that 40% today now advertising expenditure of auto companies is on digital, which used to be hardly 10% 3 years back. So digital has two perspectives to it. One is digital is allowing you to reach or identify where your customers are. So geo-marketing, geo-fencing, various things are being done. The second part is the journey of buying a vehicle, or journey of owning a vehicle, or journey of reselling a vehicle. There are various touch points. Most of them are being replaced by digital. But having said that, and this is speeding up the process so you know your customer is. But the big catch is there are certain elements which don't change. That's the challenge for marketing people. The touch and feel, at least in our industry, is still important. You want to see the color of the vehicle, you can have the thing on metaverse or everything, but I want to still see the color of the vehicle in the showroom. I want the delivery done on ground. I need that emotional connect, that puja ceremony to be done on that place. On top of it, we may say all scientific, rational basis, but try delivering a vehicle to a customer during the Shraddhs and try to deliver on the first day of Dhanteras. The world hasn't changed. So, we are a very complex society. But having said that, I was talking to somebody in the tractor industry and in a rural marketing finance company, which you think would not have been touched. Today, I was talking to Mahindra Finance, which basically sells in rural areas. 45% of the inquiries come through digital and 60% of the payments come through the digital transfer. Similarly, in tractors, they're talking 50%. So some things change, some things don't change. Like people said, why should people own cars? You can buy cars on subscription model. Subscription model has totally failed in India. The penetration is 0.01%. So there is something, so that's the unique part of marketing in India. Some things change dramatically, some things don't change, some things change partially, sometimes you have to create a handing thing. So there's something, if I have to talk of digital and on ground, I would remember an old romantic Hindi film song, Tera haath mere haath mein ho agar, to is safar bhi asle hayat hai. So tera haath mere haath mein. So you need digital and on ground to go hand in hand. That's the way I look at it.
Super, Arun. Well said. I think if you look at how India is transforming, India is advancing. During the COVID times, we all know that when you had to make a COVID vaccination, it is a digital certificate, right? And I'm sharing some interesting example. One of my friend came from US, and when he lands, he has to show a certificate of the vaccination, right? And we're going somewhere together. And where I had to open my phone and just show my digital, he's trying to search a piece of paper. I was wondering, you came from US, man, and you're looking for a piece of paper? I mean, you look like India has gone miles in terms of digital. So that is one thing which is transforming. We should really all feel good about it. Now, these things doesn't happen by itself, right? There is a thought behind, there is a process behind. My next follow-up question to the panelists here is, in every aspect, what is making the differentiator is the innovation, right? Whether it is a product innovation, whether it is a pricing innovation, whether it is a marketing. So your thoughts will be very appreciated for the audience here and for all of us. How is this innovation kicking in the marketing strategies and the whole world of selling? Anyone can go first.
A lot of people think innovation, one has to get into innovation. But I have a different belief that, there are steps to innovation. There is interest, there is involvement, there is intensity, there is initiative, and then follows innovation. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, I'm sure, has not played the helicopter shot the first day he started playing cricket. But I think innovation is all about, first of all, reinforcing what is relevant or making it relevant for today. Second thing is for reinventing certain things of dumping certain things, and sometimes taking things which you never imagined from different industries or different practices. So innovation is a continuous process, but there is no substitute, as one of the speakers said, to fundamentals of business. If your fundamentals of business, fundamentals of product, fundamentals of customers are not clear, innovation will not happen. So that's the way innovation is. It's a journey which doesn't have a clear expiry date, clear starting date. So it's an endless journey. Now, how you treat it, it can be a part of a vicious cycle or a part of a virtuous cycle. That's the way I look at it.
Thank you. Sandeep.
Yeah. So, innovations, yes, required. Evolution is happening all across, and we all are, evolving. So, similarly, customers are also evolving. The marketers are evolving. The ways of marketing is changing or improving, and hence the market is, since the market is evolving, we all need to evolve. We need to change. And accordingly, we need to innovate. And all those, we all know that all those who have been able to change, or those who have been able to innovate, they are staying or they are growing. Rest others have either vanished or they are stagnant or waiting wherever they are. Okay. So in order to change, what is happening here in our industry is that companies are now looking at, if I talk about tire industry per se, companies are today looking at the features which a premium customer is looking for. Just tire as a commodity is a tire. It's a simple thing. Any vehicle will run on tire. But today, if you go and talk to the premium customer in a premium way, saying that, sir, these tires are safer than the previous one. These tires are going to give you better mileage. Car's mileage will increase. Safety and security or braking or maneuverability, everything will change. Customers look at those things, and for that they are ready to pay. So that is not an issue. So people are ready to pay. One need to, I mean, we as a marketer need to evolve, or we need to innovate in order to reach differently to those premium segment of the customers where the money is. I mean, selling basic products, we all know that, you will be able to make money, but that will be a small amount. If you go to premium, I mean, your brand will get a better positioning, and you will be able to make more money. So that's what it is.
Thanks, Sandeep. Indra?
Yeah, so I think it's a given. We have been studying about innovation when we were students like you, and we keep on innovating. The question is, see, there is a lot of clutter, okay, in terms of what you see. When we talk of media, and again, when I say media, we are both a function of marketing and we also market ourselves. So, we are in end of October, another couple of weeks we'll have Diwali. You will see the newspapers or entire media space getting more and more cluttered. It becomes important that you stand out, so that you stand out from that clutter and you get that mind space. Something which this audience would relate to. When I'm sure all of you watch Instagram or Facebook Reels, right? Keep swiping. Kal ka assignment pada hai, fir bhi you keep swiping. You spend a little more on a few reels, right? You spend a little less time on a few reels. Something stands out, some word stands out, some video stands out, because that person has been able to do anything to get your attention. That he or she, whoever it is, or that video has something which gains your attention. So yes, innovation is important. It was always important. The thing is that for innovation, you don't necessarily have to hang upside down from a tree. Okay? You can be on the same medium and still innovate. You can do a simple TV or a print ad or a digital display and still have some innovation in that. So innovation is not just about doing something out of the world. Innovation is about how do you think differently, break from the clutter, and still make sense.
Hello. So I personally agree with what other senior members of the panel said. But if I have to break innovation, then I would rather say that we can break it down into incremental innovation and disruptive innovation. Now, and I'll give you examples of both. Adding more services to your portfolio, what you do out of a tire today, or what you do in a car today, that's all incremental innovation. Moving from a petrol car to a diesel engine, or from a diesel to an EV, becomes a more disruptive. Or when we are saying ethanol to be mixed with crude oil 10% and then the new fuel mix. So all of those are disruptive innovations. Now incremental innovation is a part of life. We like it or not, if we have to survive, we have to do it. And incremental innovations, I'll give you an example. We will do some cost engineering. So for example, if you would have realized, last 10 years, the cost of Maggi packet, the cost of your Lay's has just remained the same, right? That's also innovation. That's cost innovation, right? They just reduced the quantity. Somewhere they may start using different products or a different layer and bring that down. So incremental innovation is required to survive. What is important is disruptive innovation. And when I say disruptive innovation, I think what is aiding this disruptive innovation in the last 3, 4, 5 years is India is the third largest ecosystem for startups globally. Now with so many startups in India, they are trying to break their head over a problem and saying how can we solve it any differently. Now that is where you see that seeds of innovation coming. And I remember sir asking, how many of you do you want to open your own startups? So somebody who has the passion to understand a problem, and the problem could be, like he gave an example, at a university level around sports. But if you are able to solve that problem any differently, maybe build a platform, now that's going to put a lot of maturity to the mix. So ideally we need to differentiate. One is a necessity of life. The second, like we say, is a luxury which will earn you the dollars.
Thank you, guys. I think in the interest of the time, we'll open just 1 or 2 questions for students to ask any of the panel members. Anyone? I see some hands raising there. Can we pass on the mic, please?
Okay. I think, let me repeat the question. You want me to elaborate more on incremental innovation, right? So incremental innovation is nothing. See, if I look at any product or service, there are components. So there is something to do with cost, there is something to do with service, there is something to do with experience, there's something to do with channel, there's something to do with how that service is served. So if you are making any change in any of these, that's an incremental innovation. But at the end, if you are bringing all together a new way to serve, that's, I would call as disruptive. Now that's where I gave that example, and let me try figure out one more example to substantiate this. Now, which is a sector would you prefer for me? Okay, let's pick up UPI. You always made payments, right? There was mobile banking, correct? Then UPI came. Now, UPI created that disruption. Today, India has the largest digital payments globally, I think just followed by China. Or no, I think India has overtaken China, if I'm not wrong. Overtaken China last year. So I am saying that is disruptive, because what you did was ease. You just need to click a button and it is smooth. That is disruptive. What happens in your mobile banking is more incremental, that you are giving another channel to your customer to do the same, and they don't have to come to a branch. So how that incremental happened, it started with you need to go to a branch to transfer money. Then you could give it by check, right? Then you could give it online. Then you could give it by mobile banking. So that's how incremental will grow. Incremental is needed for you to survive. You can't survive without incremental innovation in any field. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. But are disruptive innovations later followed by incremental innovations?
So disruption after a while become incremental. Every disruption after, so for example, if once EVs would come into picture, then the next wave would have incremental innovations on top of disruptions. See, you need to understand there's a difference between invention and innovation. We're not talking about inventions. We are talking about innovations. So disruption will become the game of the day next day. Once you know that this is the way for you to do something, you will start doing it. Becomes a normal. So UPI, somebody will come to you and say that you can go to a fruit vendor or a vegetable vendor, and so if you would have seen the G20 clicks, the ambassador to Germany was actually paying the fruit vendor using a UPI. So that was very disruptive for him. He did not believe that is a possibility. But today in India, we call it, yeah, this is very common.
Thank you, sir.
One final question. Who's on the mic?
Hello.
Guys, please announce your name first so that we know who is
My name is
speaking.
Madhav. Good afternoon. And my question is that for future endeavors, it would be advisable to invest in real estate or in financial instruments?
I'm not sure this is a class for answering investment decisions.
Yeah. Not the marketing conclave. Yeah.
Okay. But why did that question come in? If I may just understand.
Like in the initial stage, the sir talked about the real estate, that it should be more feasible to invest. So that's why it generated the question.
Okay. So what's the question? What is the output you're looking at? What is the outcome? You're saying that whether you should invest in financial services or do you want to invest in real estate? That's a question.
Like which would be more feasible, like viable?
Wherever you have money, it's simple. So you can invest. That's a no-brainer.
And the second part is,
okay, but giving you the logic of how do you invest, and this is completely personal off the camera. See, every sector in an economy has to follow the economy. Understand, if any country has to grow, the financial sector has to multiply itself, because there is a lot of lending which happens. There is a lot of leasing which would happen. How would that happen? By deposits. So it's a circular economy, right? So the sector grows. The same is with real estate. So tomorrow you want that real estate to happen, right? You need to have commercial offices. You need to have well-developed infrastructure. Now your real estate value will only go up. So imagine if this was This campus is on a 16-lane highway, right? And next there is a cyber park being set up for most of the IT companies. Suddenly the value of the campus will go up. Why? It depends on the infrastructure around that real estate. So both of these things are, again, going back to the point of context of how you want to analyze. So both of these things are equally important, and both of these things will grow in a growing economy, if that answers the question.
So also I think as a student you should invest in yourself at this point in time. That is why we are having this conclave. Okay, money will follow.
That's a good advice.
You are a brand in yourself. So if you invest in yourself, that will be the best start. And then your investment and returns and others will follow. So invest in yourself. That's the best advice given.
Okay, I think that reminds me, I think we need to end this panel discussion in the interest of the time.
One more question, I think. Name first.
So, there are two different fields. Content you're consuming and it's out. Whereas in products, you consider it's an integral part of your life. So, consumption, you don't want to keep it. You can access it anytime. Whereas in this, there is this pride of ownership. India is still a developing economy. We still have this passion, the pride of ownership. And a lot of people are still to move from non-motorization to motorization. The joy, the excitement they have, we are still, our penetrations are low. So it will take time. And then, when the psychology moves different, it moves differently. Might be a subscription model may happen after 5 years. But today we are in that model of aspiration and owning. Tomorrow it might change. But content, as far as what you talked of digital or online media, that is a different thing. You're consuming something and you want to use it for a particular time.
So I think we need to put that in a perspective of how Sir said. Anything which is a digital consumption or an online consumption can only work on a subscription model, whether it is digital. So you have digital media, right, where you have magazines, Economist, I'm assuming some of you would have read through, or you have online newspapers where you get a subscription. So most of these in some form of subscription, because they have to be consumed online, would work it. But in some of the industries, so for example, a lot of companies have leased cars. In US we have a concept which did not pick up in India. Coming to the point of Netflix, the growth of Netflix was phenomenal when it started in India, but today overall if you see, there are worrisome pointers. They aren't doing as well as and I was going through an article where they said that they aren't doing as well as they anticipated when they came in India. So depends completely on, again, going back to the context part, what are you trying to solve here, or what are you trying to talk about? In the space where they were meaning, I think subscription model hasn't picked up yet.
But PVR is starting subscription for movies in their theaters.
Yeah.
Buy 10 tickets, 499 rupees in a month, you can watch 10 movies. So, people are adapting. Brick and mortar theaters are going for subscription.
So you're absolutely right, sir. See, eventually it will always starts with the consumer moving towards, you say brick and mortar, then towards auto, ancillaries. It moves from consumer to B2B. Eventually, nobody is saying it will pick up or not. We're just saying that where it stands today, with respect to a specific sector, if I may just point it, but it's not that subscription is not there. We have OTT, we have online newspapers, we have economists, we have a lot of examples which have worked, but may not be very relevant for that sector.
The industry is not innovated enough. The subscription costs in the automobile are double or 3 times the cost for the same value in USA. So we have not been able to probably innovate also. The price value equation is not right.
So
that was said by Mr. Uday Kotak's son, but that's not the reality. That is 2% of the market. 98% want to buy.
So
that's the problem.
So that ways we all have lived on rents for a while, right? So that's, if we have to go back in history, there are a lot of things which worked, but they worked in a very, very different context. I think the context which were covered here, a very, very valid question, but the context in which what they said seems to be a little different.
Okay, I think good discussion, good engagement. I'm happy. Let's move on to the
last question. I think
standing
ma'am
there,
has
or
a
we have
last
time?
question.
We don't have time.
Please, I'll give you the mic.
And many corporates are coming up with the subscription model. For example, bulk mail system. So we are using MailChimp as a bulk subscription model because that gives effectiveness to that bulk mailing as well. So there are several examples just to add on to this discussion.
Brilliant. I think with that note, let's give a big round of applause to all the panelists here. They brought in great engagement in the audience. Very happy. Two things I want the students to remember, guys. Life is a continuous learning. Keep learning continuous. That's the only thing we all have to do in life. Second, please don't box yourself. I'm a marketing guy, I'm a finance guy, I'm an IT guy. World is evolving. Don't please box yourself. Come out of that. I think the brilliant address which both the leaders have given, the address at the beginning. Innovate yourself. Keep challenging yourself. Don't sit in the comfort zones. Thank you so much and wish you all the very best.
No, sir, I request you to remain seated for now. Sir, I request you to remain seated for now. Let's have a big round of applause once again for the panelists. Now I request the faculties to present the mementos to the panelists, and I would request placement head Mr. Shivkant Sharma to present the memento to Mr. Arun Malhotra. I would request Professor Vikram Tyagi to present the memento to Mr. Sandeep Jain. I would request Professor Jyoti to present the memento to Mr. Indra Narayan Das. And now I request Professor Sabah Jafri to present the memento to Mr. Udit Sethi. I would request Professor Rajiva Ranjan to present the memento to Ms. Sanskriti Kumar Khanna. And last but not the least, I would request Dean Dr. Richa Dahiya to present the memento to our moderator, Mr. Sudhir Dasmant Rao. And now I would request the panelists to move to their respective seats among the guests. We'll be starting a second plenary session, and it will just bear with us for 5 minutes until we make the arrangements and the nameplates. Yes. Kindly be seated. I request you all to be seated, and I would request Mr. Prashant Kumar to come on the stage and address us with his thoughts. Abhi, wait.
Sorry, thank you. Thank you, Pranati. Sorry guys, at the cost of making you wait for your lunch which follows, I believe after this, or after the second session, I am just going to take 2 or 3 minutes first to acknowledge Sudhir, Indra, Jeet, Udit and Arun. These people here, and as well as Sanskriti, in last 1 hour, they have added so much to me in my knowledge as to what's happening around and how different industries are looking at marketing per se. So thank you guys. I would have loved to stay throughout the day till the very end of it. It's so engrossing and so interesting. But for some pressing reasons, after this I will be leaving. I have to get back to Delhi on something very, very important and urgent right now. So I would like to say goodbye to all of you. The best of luck. And the last thing which I want to say, that you guys will do the best under VUCA circumstances. And why? I was thinking, which has been the biggest VUCA in my life? It was my marriage. And India has the least divorce rates worldwide, which means we Indians are the winners on VUCA. The day you get married, you don't know nothing about what's going to happen, but we all make it work. So, have faith in yourself, do well, all the best. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. Your presence will be missed. Now we'll be starting a second plenary session, and allow me to introduce the guest and invite them on the dais. Mr. Ibad Hanif, the co-founder and director of Waka Logis Solutions, is a highly accomplished logistics professional with expertise in supply chain management, procurement, and sourcing across diverse industries. He has in-depth knowledge of various freight categories. Mr. Hanif is renowned for establishing numerous centers globally with a strong focus on business growth and cost-saving initiatives. His life skills extend to strategic vendor negotiations, change management, and improving financial performance. Core competencies include supply chain management, procurement, cost optimization, project management, and team leadership. I would request the designated student volunteer to present him with the bouquet. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Ibad Hanif? I request the students to kindly be seated. Mr. Anush Thapliyal, a former commanding officer in the Rashtriya Rifles during the Kargil War and currently a management consultant and leadership coach, seamlessly blends his military experience with a 4-decade career in management. An astute strategist, he leverages his deep understanding of leadership to provide invaluable insights to business and teams. Mr. Thapliyal's keen observations, continuous learning, and commitment to personal growth are his hallmarks. As a certified change practitioner and coach, he actively partners with individuals to help them realize their aspirations and unlock their potential, making a significant impact in both military and civilian domains. I would request Mr. Thapliyal to kindly join us on the dais, and I would request the designated student officer to welcome him and present the bouquet. Mr. Anand Singh Bisht, currently the Vice President of Sales at IDAM House of Brands, is a high-performing senior trade marketing and sales leader with over 2 decades of experience in strategic business development, P&L management, trade marketing, distribution, brand promotion, and channel management in the FMCG industry. Mr. Bisht has played a key role in launching numerous new categories and brands, contributing significantly to organizations of high repute. You're welcome on the dais, sir. Mr. Rajat Binlish, GM and Head of Enterprise IT Applications of IGT Solutions, is a seasoned professional with 17 years of experience. He excels in digital transformation, ERP, enterprise web applications, mobile solutions, and IT management. Notable roles include DGM IT at NCRTC, where he oversaw IT implementation and digital projects, and leadership positions in innovative solutions for global telecom tower companies. With international experience in Brussels, Belgium, he is committed to excellence in IT and telecom. I would request you, sir, to kindly join us on the dais, and I would request the designated student officer to present him the bouquet. Welcome, sir. Mr. Sachin Tyagi, Vice President at Watsu Express Private Limited, brings 12 years of experience in sales, pre-sales, and product management. He excels in areas as pre-sales, competition analysis, and coordination with internal teams and customers. Mr. Tyagi's expertise extends to various technology solutions, including ITS, RFID, passenger information systems, electronic ticketing, machines, and CCTV. But I think he is not with us here now, so I'll just move on to the next panelist. Dr. Jitin Gaur, currently the Area Service Manager for North Delhi NCR, J&K Haryana, UP West at Honda Cars, is a highly accomplished techno-commercial professional with a PhD in management, an MBA in marketing, and a BE in automobile engineering with honors. With over 15 years of experience, he excels in dealer development, strategic planning, service marketing, revenue generation, customer retention, and after-sales service operation. Sir, you're welcome on the dais, and I would request the student officer to kindly present the bouquet. Dr. Ruchi Dikshit, with a PhD from SRM University, Sonipat, and an MBA from Punjab Technical University, is an accomplished academic with 8 years of teaching experience. She combines her academic expertise with 9 years of industry know-how, primarily in the field of marketing. As a dedicated faculty member in marketing, her research interests revolve around marketing and business research, enriching both her students and the academic community. I welcome you, ma'am, on the dais, and may I request you, ma'am, to kindly moderate the discussions, and let's have a big round of applause for the panel.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I think your stomachs are not growling, and you will have the patience to hear all the dignitaries here. Though it was on a short notice, the moderator has not come, and I've taken this charge today. So we will do the little twist, because I think marketing discussions has not been done. So we'll move ahead further to this and talk about, of course, marketing, digitalization, and Industry 4.0 and 5.0. So how the speakers feel about that discussion. I'll just give a short introduction to that, guys. We are in the mode of digitalization today. And if I talk about Industry 4.0, it is nothing about this digitalized world that we're talking about. It is all about automation. It is about Internet of Things. It is about big data, analytics. It is all about fusion of all the technologies together, which has got efficiency in work settings. The way we are doing business today, the business operations, the customer expectations, the customer engagement, everything has changed today. That has bring to the table. That is Industry 4.0. And if I talk about Industry 5.0, where we are almost there, it is at the horizon, where we're talking about that, yes, automation is good. We can bank on the machine, but human-centric approach is the best. You cannot forget the role of human brain, and that is what is coming up with Industry 5.0. So I put my question to my speakers and I'll ask them how do they feel about Industry 5.0, the role of automation and human brain, which was taking a back seat, but again, as a part of social responsibility, as a part of many things further down the line, how marketing will play the role then further. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am, and welcome to all. First of all, thanks for giving the opportunity to hear. I think 1 hour lunch is delayed, so I hope you are able to understand what we are trying to say. Yes, Industry 4.0 and 5.0 after pandemic, and even after pandemic, and also we saw a huge change in the industry of marketing in every aspect, either in terms of white goods, either in terms of automobile industry, either in terms of education industry. Now, and after a new change in the industry of India came after, you can say, Geo. Now everyone have the mobile in their hand with the internet. Now the marketing totally changed after that particular thing, even not in urban area, also in rural area also. And for the same, yes, we are moving around from 4.0 to 5.0. And for the same, if we are talking about in terms of the student, you are here to understand what is the marketing, and now we are in transition phase in talking about the automobile industry. Earlier, you are going to see the advertisement in newspaper or even digital, but now the customers are very demanding and they are trying to approach in a particular way that what they need to understand, whether in terms of the brand perception, in terms of the quality of the product, in terms of the positive word of mouth, or you can say after sales of the service. Particular thing. These are the things which need to be understood for all the marketing. And definitely in past we see there are many products. If talking about the automobile industry, you've heard the name of Royal Enfield, Bullet, right? In past you never saw the advertisement in, you can say, digital or in television. But because of the change of the marketing trend, outside companies are coming, right? Harley Davidson. Now the marketing plays an important role to bring them to showcase you that yes, we are also in industry in India from past 2 decades or more than that also. But now we want to understand the situation that digital marketing plays an important role, and not even a single automaker currently is not having the digital platform or paper platform individually, but they have the platform for, you can say, Instagram also, social media also. Positive word of mouth plays an important role. So yes, if I'm talking about my industry, automobile, marketer as a marketer, it plays an important role even after the product also. If you buy a product, after that, like in the previous panel from automobile background, there is a person was saying that yes, we are selling the product, but now in automobile industry, we are not selling the product only, we are selling the service. Service plays an important role. After taking a car or a two-wheeler, how you are providing the service to the customer, it will create a positive word of mouth or negative word of mouth. It will create a perception in positive direction or in negative direction. This plays an important role as a marketing also. So if you're talking about, yes, 2 aspects in marketing in terms of product, selling of the product, or in terms of the service of the product. If I'm talking about my auto industry. Now to other panelists.
If you ask me, I still believe that sales, marketing are crux of any of the industry, any of the company. We define budget. Very first budget is defined for sales and marketing. But I believe that it boils down to the delivery part. If you are not delivering, you put any much of the efforts in sales, marketing, gradually you will not be able to sustain in the market, in the business. So we have to exploit technology along with, of course, sales and marketing efforts. I believe Zerodha, we all know, right? Who is the youngest billionaire in India? He is Nikhil Kamath. And you will be surprised to know that they did not invest anything on sales. They did not invest anything on marketing. Still they are successful. And just in maybe 12 years of the time, because they brought in one of the idea, they leveraged technology. If you access Zerodha mobile app, it is so simple to access that they have 6.1 million active users as of now. Big housing groups like Motilal Oswal, big asset management companies who have invested too much on marketing and sales, they are not nearby as per the revenue which they are earning. Nitin Kamath, they are making a revenue of 6,000 crore rupees annually with a profit of 2,000 crores because their operational expenditures is way too less. they are having 2,000 people, but we don't see any advertisement anywhere of Zerodha. It is just word of mouth how they have exploited technology that they have become too popular. When Prashantji were here, he mentioned about various new technologies like ChatGPT. I believe we all know that there is a ChatGPT tool which is being exploited, but there have been virtually very less use cases as per the enterprise per se, wherein people are using ChatGPT. I mean, personally, I have seen very less use cases where people are really resolving problems rather than just creating content, just creating maybe emails, searching something, you know. But right now, industry has leveraged ChatGPT. I myself have used ChatGPT to automate our entire hiring process. So the solution which we have implemented within my organization, we are using ChatGPT to collect all the CVs of all the participants automatically. ChatGPT is doing first level filtering of the CVs. They are giving weightage based on the skills. Only ChatGPT is allowing our candidate to book a slot of calendar of my HR, and basis on that particular slot which candidate books, he visits our office and he go for the interview process. So this entire cycle we have made leaner using technology. And the good part is now we are taking this solution to our customers. And we have already sold this solution to our customers. Maybe n number of ways how we can use these technological levers, you know, with respect to different technologies or industries. So I still believe that marketing, sales are very important aspect. No one can survive without them. But again, it boils down to the delivery part, how we are delivering, and at the end of the day, what sort of services, benefits, you know, and the value for money which we are providing to the customer for the longer run. Thank you.
Hi, thanks and good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I really would like to thank the Dean, the Institute, and all the members who have given us an opportunity to speak to you and come closer to you. I just would like to take a step back, and when we speak, so I will talk about, I'm sure that everyone is aware of that now there are close to around 80 crore smartphone users in the country, right? So that's pretty big out of 140 crores of a population, roughly approximate. Second point is that if you look at data trends, you find that close to around 1 billion internet users will fall in place by 2025, right? For a country like India, I'm saying, as sir was in the last panelist also talk about, this is the decade for India. I'm telling you, the kind of unicorns that is coming up. We are the 4th largest economy in the world, right? And the way we are progressing as a GDP growth rate of 6.5+% with a, and the biggest part is that India contributes to roughly 60% of the population is less than 35 years of age, guys, right? So it's an opportunity as well. It's a challenge for all of you, in fact, that the competition is going to be much intense, and you have to be ahead of the curve, both from a learning perspective and also from adopting new technologies per se. So now coming to that, how technology has evolved us. So it has crossed all barriers per se, right? Now you can reach even to the remotest corner of the village in any parts of the country, right? Be it any upcountry village of less than 2,000 population in Bihar, or you find anywhere in Kerala. So you can reach directly to them, right? So it also brings up it also opens up that what are the challenges that it brings, right? I was just going through the service industry, I was just looking at. So how I see, as far as what are the big challenges as far as for the marketeers in this age of, dynamic so-called the technological innovation, I feel that it falls into 3 broad points which I see. One is, intangibility, right? Because the service industry, you cannot comment, you cannot until you experience that product, right? So you cannot do that. So that is intangibility is the biggest challenge as far as service industry is concerned. Second is inseparability, right? When I talk about inseparability, I can talk about that there are certain areas, certain industries wherein, the product and the service both are, taking place at the same time. I'll just give you an example for it, right? I don't know, if you visit a doctor, right? So you have to depend on his expertise, right? Because it is intangible services. So you have to depend on them, that his experience, and then you wait for that experience to come into you. That is point one. If you talk about, salon market, salon industry per se, right? I don't know how many, you must be having your sisters, wives, and I have got a daughter also, right? Just to give a perspective, I don't know whether you have heard this phenomenon, this sentence or not. Anything related to girls' bal and gal, they are very conscious about it, right? And they will not buy just because you are telling them to buy that it's a great product, right? Unless it is being facilitated or facilitated by their best friend, sister or mom, that it's a great product to use. So I'm saying that the challenge also comes in where you have to bring in the customer testimonials within their close family group, or the close groups, with the help of technology, to reaching out so that the conversion takes place and you have a more loyal customers moving forward, right? And third, the last point which I see is the variability, which depends on the human, since there is a human angle attached to it, and hence it varies basis what is the empathy, how he responds, what is the training process as such given. So these are the 3 points along which will give a major thrust and a challenge as far as technology is concerned in these specific aspects for the service industry. Yeah, thanks.
Good afternoon, firstly, and much obliged for this opportunity to be here amongst you all. Picking up the thread now, I think let's talk about the service industry. I've been part of the service industry, which once somebody very famously had mentioned that if you want to be a millionaire, start off by giving the individual $1 billion and ask him to start an airlines. And this is what Richard Branson had to say about the aviation industry. That's the industry that we're talking about here. And I've been a part of this industry for almost about 20 years now. Marketing for us, again, is something very interesting that happens. As we are all aware, or some of us may not be aware, each of the entities and stakeholders in this whole industry needs to be addressed and thereafter basically converted individually. Primarily because if you're talking about stakeholders like let's say in the aviation industry, besides the airlines, you have the regulatory bodies for each of the countries wherein the airlines are coming from or are going to. We also have the diaspora, the passengers who are moving, the shippers and the consignees. Is it any better? Yeah. Okay, so like I was saying, in the aviation industry, we have different stakeholders. And each of these stakeholders have got their own, I guess, at times competing and contradictory kind of agendas that one needs to be mindful about. And to that extent, like I was saying, you have the regulatory bodies of different countries from where the carriers are coming in, the airlines are flying in, and landing into the countries probably where there is altogether a different regulatory compliance which probably gets mandated. Or for that matter, you have, let's say, the shippers and the consignees, people who are exporters and importers. Each one of them who have their own agendas would want a seamless chain to be working as part of the supply chain. The challenge that basically comes up is you have then a link in between of the freight forwarders and CHAs who obviously would want the whole chain to be that much more complex, because that's where the profits and the margins comes in from. Had it been a seamless, transparent chain, probably this entity obviously loses out on the business part of it. We have the airports who in any case get to earn the revenue only once the aircrafts are on ground. And you have the airlines, any time spent on the ground is lost revenue and lost value for them. We have the terminal operators at each of these airports who in any case are operating primarily on the premise that the services would be used and used to the maximum, whether it is the passenger terminals or it's the cargo terminals, because the more that the passengers or the cargo stays in these terminals, more revenue gets generated, either through the aeronautical tariff structure or non-aeronautical tariff structure. So having said that, when it comes down to the marketing for a diaspora which is as diverse as this, one of the things which came in as a major realization to us is that you succeed only when you stop competing. The moment you start competing, you are getting into a very crowded place. And you would be cloning as to the services of somebody else. And no wonder you see airlines folding up, much too frequently for anybody's liking. Now that's where I think the challenge as to how exactly do you go about doing your marketing. Targeted marketing to each of these segments, wherein each one of the stakeholders feels confident that it is not being done basically to compromise their business interests, and at the same time you're giving them the confidence that you would be able to address their business interests to the best possible. And more so when you're talking about a business line, a service product, which in any case is a common user kind of a product there. Multiple stakeholders with, like I said, competing business interests probably would need to be drawn for you to really be making a sense out of it. And that's, I guess, something which makes this industry that much more interesting and that much more challenging. For now, I think I'll rest my case here and we can talk about it slightly later. Ibado.
Thank you, Anuj, and hello everyone. I'll just start by addressing the chair, Marketing 4.0. So 4.0, as Philip Kotler talks about it, he talks about connectivity and technology. Now, I'll put it to our perspective. I'm not going to give you any gyan. You all are extreme gyanis, so live with it. Live with the thought. I'll just tell you a realistic example which has unfolded, in front of our eyes, whether we have seen it or we have not seen it. If we have seen it, then great. If you've not seen it, then please take a note of it. And I'm 100% sure most of us have been caught unaware. So I'm going to talk about the logistics fraternity. I belong to the fraternity. Logistics fraternity contributes approximately 9% to the GDP of the country, right? And it employs more than 30% of the employable workforce in the country. Now these are just statistics to trigger your mind up. I'll come straight to the point. The logistics fraternity with a 9% GDP contribution, and that has been over the years since India's independence, so as to say, rather 1952 onwards. Now look at it from that perspective. There could have been giants, something like a 40,000 or a 50,000 crore company made during 1950 to 2020, 2024. Nothing of that happened, right? We had two companies, Delivery and Rivigo. Using Marketing 4.0, they actually shook up the entire logistics fraternity, and they actually made sure that they come out of their slumber. This is a real and a most classic example of what marketing strategies, how they can disrupt the real competition. I'll rest my case here. I'll hand it back to the chair.
Can you hear me? Yeah. I think one of the perils of walking in late and being at the last is I think anything that was worth listening to has already been said by the esteemed panel. But I'll do my bit. So, before coming here, I was first trying to outsource my job to ChatGPT and checking, what does disruption, industry 4.0 does to service marketing, opportunities and challenges in service marketing. Then I realized what I come up with is a list of stuff, perishability, intangibility, etc. Something that you've read, you've suffered enough, right? Depending upon whether you are first year or second year, either 6 months or 1 year and 6 months, you've suffered all of that. So I'll spare that and also try to put another spiel. So, Industry 4.0, just linking the two topics, is basically, now what you now have. Now every person in this room, every person out there on the street has a megaphone in his hands, right? And people in this era are not afraid of shouting on this megaphone on social media, on Twitter, on Insta. What this means is, whatever you mean for the customer will find a way to let the society, to let other customers, to let the market know whether he liked it, did not like it, what did he do with it, what did she not do with it, etc. So, and how do we bring this down to what does services do? In a sense, I would want to introduce a concept where I say services are a more scalable category as compared to products. And I use the word scalable not in its classical definition, but scalable as Taleb defines in a must-read book called Black Swan. If you guys have not read it, you should pick it up. It would be a work which would define some of the choices you make if you like it. So how Taleb defines scalable is, when your input to output ratio can change. So for example, if you're selling a product, if you're selling a phone would do a hardware, mobile phone, the handset, whether it's an Apple handset or a Xiaomi handset, there is a very finite limit to what it can do. A phone would do what a phone does. It can carry 1 SIM card, probably 2. Maybe the Chinese will make it carry 4 SIM cards. But there would be a very finite limit to what that hardware can achieve. However, if you are a Jio or an Airtel and you are providing the service which connects this phone to the world, the possibilities are endless. This same service in my hand, in your hand, in the hand of an average person on the street may do nothing more than helping us connect with our business, our friends, our family, and just pass some time, do some entertainment. But the same phone in the hand of a vlogger, could just create a stream of revenue which we couldn't even think of. The same phone, in the hands of a taxi. In the hands of a taxi owner, the same phone in the hands of a delivery guy has created billion-dollar industries in front of our eyes, right? Uber, Zomato, Swiggy, none of this would exist if this service was not there. And again, the input is the same. Whether it's the Uber driver who's running his entire business on the phone, he's also paying the same 200 rupees which you and I are paying for almost doing nothing with the phone, right? But the output you can drive out of this is mega. You have YouTube celebrities earning millions of dollars per annum just out of this phone, just out of using the service that this phone gives us. So services, as I said, as compared to a product, a service becomes scalable. Why to go that far? A phone may be abstract, but think of this. The moment you start to think about what the service does for your customer and you start defining your communication, your messaging, your ability to sell your service in the sense that it makes sense to the customer, it makes a difference. So even in a very high value add field of medical, for example, from the beginning of time we've had this speciality called orthopedics. The doctors who deal with our bones and muscles. Orthopedic remains an orthopedic, charges the same fee any orthopedic doctor charges. But then some smarter orthopedic doctors became sports medicine specialists, right? What did they do? Their skill is the same. They're talking about the same bones. They're doing the same surgeries. They're doing the same physiotherapies. But they are able to articulate the value of their profession, the value of the service they provide in terms of gains an athlete could make, either in terms of consistently performing better or elongating his or her career. And when you do that, you are no longer bound by the benefits you can get out of the service being benchmarked, or as the gentleman said, the moment you start competing is when you start growing. So until you are an orthopedic doctor, you are bound by, okay, what does a doctor in South Delhi charge for a consult? You can only charge plus minus 5% of that. But when you are a sports medicine specialist, you are now thinking of a sports person's career and the earnings that the sports person can make in his career. And you are driving it, right? So if you're extending that career by 3 years, you are extending the sports person ability to earn that much more money at the peak of his career for 3 years, and then you can get a value share out of it. That allows you to price yourself. That allows you to get value out of the service you're providing disproportionately, right? So closer home, what we do as we sell wireline internet service. It's one of the most commoditized, it's a service minus pandemic. Nobody ever needed it, right? So, but what we were able to do differently, we realized why does anyone need internet at home? Most of us don't want to go back home, and this is pre-COVID, so there was no work from home, and even streaming wasn't that big that time, right? So you don't need internet at home, and the mobile would work just fine. And on top of that, 4G, 3G was making mobile data more easy. We realized the only reason you would need phone at home or internet at home would be for entertainment. And again, this is 2015, 16. Netflix, Hotstar, Amazon, they're still not big yet. They're there, they've started, but they are more in their pilot Series A, Series B phases, and they've not become a household name yet. So that time we realized, and you might not know, but when I was in campus about 15 years ago, we had something called torrents in our campus, right? So one of the ways to get entertainment was to download the latest movies on torrents and just go for it. We found out that there were open source tools on the internet which made torrents accessible for people without being on the shared drive of a B school or a engineering college campus, or without you needing to be a tech geek to find those torrents, right? We found, and there are the stuff like Stremio, Torbox. These were essentially, these are services which gave a front end to torrents, which allowed you to even circumvent some of the laws and regulations around the subject. So we were coaching our sales guys, when you meet a customer, don't talk about internet. If you talk about internet, what you'll say, I'm cheaper, faster, better. And the moment you say cheaper, faster, better, somebody else will say more cheaper, more faster, more better. Talk about Torbox, talk about Stremio, talk about how many movies they can watch. Don't talk about that they have to pay 600 rupees a month for internet, because then again you are limiting yourself. Ask them how much money they spend as a family to watch a movie when they go to PVR. That number would be astronomical, right? A family of 4 goes for a movie, including the popcorns and the Coke and the movie ticket. You're talking 2,000 rupees. Once you're referencing yourself there, you can again get value. So what we were able to achieve without budgets, without any big funding available to us, we were able to, using such concepts, we were able to be in a space where we could compete with the giants, compete with the Airtels and the Jios. Not only compete, but able to charge about 20 to 30% more premium as compared to their service. We continue to do that, and again, because we continue to find such cases, right, where you think of your service not by the definition of parameters of the service, and if you go by how services are defined, the perishability, the intangibility, etc., they anyways make a service difficult to define. But the moment you start defining the service in customer success terms, right, as I said, you then change the narrative. You are playing in a different paradigm, and then you can reap disproportionate benefits. So as marketer, our challenges sort of comes in is harnessing this customer success spirit, and if only the marketing function talks about it, it won't happen, right? So once you stumble upon this customer success piece, it is not going to be something which is limited to the lingo in the sales and marketing department. Everything has to be structured this way. Again, going back to our own example, so that when we decided that our internet would be used for entertainment, our internet would be used for streaming, our internet would be used for downloading torrents, watching movies, etc., then the network had to be designed in a way that it could support continuous video streaming by a million homes at the same time, right? The network had to be, and even and that also had to be in the way we communicated. So there were so we could not do fair usage policies, because if you're asking people to watch movies, then you can't put 100 GB data limit, right? So we had to get away with that. The speeds on offer had to be much more higher, etc. So you cannot leave this as a marketing speak. The moment you leave this as a marketing speak, it will work for a while probably. It will give you it will buy you some time. But in that time that you've bought, if the rest of the organization, if the service delivery mechanism has not internalized that same marketing spiel and has not turned the company on that paradigm, it won't work, right? Sooner or later the customers will see it. And going back to today's megaphone world, if it doesn't work, then the customers would let other customers know it doesn't work. The other thing which is true for all types of marketing, whether product or service, and probably true of a service, I think a happy customer, probably 10 happy customers would refer and bring in 3 new customers, but one unhappy customer would take away 5, right? So marketing gives you a nice, lovely mask where you are talking about the customer success. If you don't tune the rest of the ops and service delivery mechanism to deliver on it, then you will not scale. Then you will not get the benefit over a sustained period of time, right? So before I end, I would just go back to the books which I sort of briefly mentioned at the start. So there is a concept, I'm sure you would have read it in Porter's marketing book, but the term was coined by, I think, Theodore Levitt, right? So he said, people are not buying quarter-inch screws. People are buying quarter-inch holes. That's true in the industry 1.0 in the product era, but I think in this era, people are not even buying quarter-inch holes. People are buying the photograph of their grandfather hung on the wall, right? So and that's the leap. That's the paradigm we as marketers have to cross and communicate everything in the way that the customer gets it. It's for him. It's not for us, right? So talk about the number of movies. Don't talk about the megabits of internet. Megabits of internet is an abstract subject which they will not understand. But how many movies they can see and what's the spend on the movies they can do, they can easily understand and then make a decision, right? So yeah, with that, I think I'll hand it back to the chair.
Thank you so much. So I think we all are on the same page that yes, digitalization is the core today, and it has changed the ways marketing is done. We talk about big data, we talk about data analytics. It has given an edge to marketing, and yes, the ways of doing business, and of course a competitive edge. So talking not only just the pros, now I'll asking all the speakers here from their industry, from their experience, what are the challenges to digitalization? So on to you, sir.
For the students, if I tell you about the topic, you understand of diffusion of innovation, okay? Talking about the, do you know about the floppy disk? Floppy disk, what will the size of a floppy disk? From floppy disk to CD-ROM to pen drive, now pen drive to hard disk, external hard disk, now it's cloud. Do you know, this is the change of the, you can say, if you're talking about, fine, hello? Yeah, if you're talking about the change, so if talking about the marketing, we call it application to fit and survival of the fittest. Now, generation wants smart work, not hard work. In the same way, if I'm talking about the example, like in past, you heard about the example of Yahoo and then Google. At one point of time, Yahoo want to purchase the Google. And now see the where is Yahoo and where is Google. Same in Nokia. At the point of time when the Nokia was there, and see now nowhere is Nokia, and now the smartphones are there. The reason behind is that because we have to go with the adaptability, application to fit, and we call it survival of the fittest. In my industry, I'm talking about, particularly in automobile, the word of mouth plays an important role. Now we are in a transition phase, disruption of the phase from fossil fuel, that is gasoline or diesel, to electric and hybrid vehicle. But at here, if we're talking about how the customer adapted, now almost at here, we can say that out of 140 crores, only 2.8% have the four-wheeler. In this particular era, every automobile manufacturer out of the India coming to India to we can say marketing themselves in a proper way. This is the only reason why the marketing plays an important role. The existing player, like talking about the Honda, Maruti, Hyundai, was already in this industry. But now, if you're talking about the MG, Kia, the external companies outside from the India coming and disrupting the market, the reason is the marketing. In India, people don't know about basic knowledge of automobile in rural area, but now they know how to represent themselves in front of customers so that they can able to buy it, or they can able to, you can say, adapt and giving the positive word of mouth and perception. So you can consider yourself that as a marketer, the basic phenomenal in the industry of automobile, that you need to go down the line with end users, with application to fit, and as per the adaptability of the product. So this is the thing which we need to look after as a new marketing as 5.0. Thank you.
Yeah. I believe user adoption is one of the key factor. Even if you have best of the product, you are offering your services at the minimum viable prices, still creating an awareness and user adoption so that user brings up the change. I believe is still the hardest part which enterprises are still facing. There is a great initiative which is going on by Government of India. Probably if I'll ask you, if you go to Zomato and you order for a burger, McDonald's burger, you will get it delivered in 150 rupees. And there are various modes available on various channels which are very popular, just like Paytm. And if you order the same burger from the very same shop using a particular method, you will get it delivered at your home at 100 rupees. It is happening. ONDC is one of the initiatives which Government of India is taking. They are delivering various products, various services in 30% cheaper. But people are still not aware of. They are putting a lot of hard work. Government is spending too much of money in marketing. But again, user adoption is still not here. As Varun was mentioning, that a good customer will bring, maybe because of word of mouth, just like Zerodha. Probably they are still waiting that it spreads across just like fire using word of mouth. But I still believe that usage of technology in mixture with a good quality product and services which you are offering, in combination of both, probably you can increase user adoption and you can increase and improve user adaptability and your revenues.
Thanks. In fact, in the service industry or the technology, we heard a lot of usage of the new age, the how the technology is being used. As far as FMCG is concerned, I just would like to give you example because I come from that fraternity. Is that many years back, no one would have actually thought of challenging the behemoths of levers or PNGs of the world, right? Because when you need to start a business, you need to have a large might, in terms of distribution, how you want to communicate to your audience, and it requires a lot of, investments around. But as you all are pretty familiar with the technology and its usage, even for startups or small companies, it is easier for them to understand from there they want to start. What is the need gap they are, positioning themselves? What is which area they would like to go first? Which is the target audience they would like to go for? Because you can do a funneling, as far as that. If it's a woman, 20 years to 30 years, of a men, if a product is mentioned for 15 years, so you can specifically target those within that specific area by pin codes and with the use of technology, and you can really make your communication as effective with the minimal of the cost, which in the earlier era of the erstwhile technologies was at all not possible. And hence you could see many regional players coming up in FMCG space. They are challenging the behemoths of the companies and they are being profitable as well, right? So there are, you could see in the fragrance, there is a Bella Vita, there is a Mamaearth, there is a Plum. So you name any of the companies, there is a so many companies have come up and they know how to target, sharp focus within the specific span, and they can really leverage this technology, and reach out to the right audience. In addition to this, I also would like to, bring one more additional point is that, your product has to be aspirational, and that aspiration, you have to communicate that aspirational stories to that. So what is the content that you are giving? So it is that story that has to reach that, audience or the masses which you are specifically targeting, your right TG, right? So then you can also connect through them, stating that, this is a aspirational product, and this is how we are, making it directly. You can see live from, remote village to our factory or to our specific, that this is the quality, this is the how we are making, why we are saying this is aspirational, and we want it to be a part of our journey. And that is where, you are bringing a more loyalty on the table, because they wanted to, they are aspirational, they see your quality, and there is more attachment to the product or the brand which they are, going for a try. So I feel, yes, definitely a technology has lost change, and FMCG has definitely, and that's why you see many startups have really come up and they have become profitable. And in the moving forward also in this era, you will see a lot more things coming up, because now the youths are, even a small kid, right? I'll just give you one live example that, BTS, right? I have never, in my life, I have never, heard BTS earlier, right? My daughter, he was 5 years old, and you could see that, she was a big fan of BTS. Look at the reach that this technology has made right from Korea to this place, right? And they know exactly that what is the audience they are reaching out to, and these are the people who are gonna be with them for a longer period of time, and that's how they built, sustainable business proposition in a long time. So that's it, my take from this. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so technology obviously is something that needs to be leveraged. We all understand it. We also understand the fact that marketing strategy somewhere down the line has to be aligned with the business strategy. And to that extent, as far as the industry that I am talking about, aviation, and that specifically the air cargo supply chain and logistics part, I'll just highlight two parameters which continue to basically be challenging for us. We all understand the difference between customer, consumer, and user. Now, when the marketing strategy gets formulated, as far as my sector is concerned, we need to be very clear as to the person who is basically the customer, the decision maker, is usually not the user or is not the consumer of the services that are being provided at the terminals or at the touch points wherein the services get felt. Making use of technology in terms of being able to communicate your service offerings, your commitments to the decision makers, which obviously also needs to be then reinforced and somewhere down the line be supplemented and let's say recommended by the user, is one of the major challenges that we have. Because the marketing strategy part of it has to be basically looked at in the context of the consumer who is the buyer, the customer who is paying me for the service, vis-a-vis the user who is on the ground making use of that particular service. So that's one of the major, I think, challenges that we continue to face. We continue to leverage technology in terms of how exactly do we customize our communications to each of these entities. And that's, again, something which is interesting for us. The second, I think, major part is in the, like when I say differentiation, which is critical, in this industry. Given the fact that you are a regulated industry, there is only as much of a differentiation that can really be brought about. The fact of the matter is, some of the times we are basically, kind of addressing the existing services which need to be then communicated to the environment using the digital media. But there are times when we, in any case, are coming up with, let's say, the term that was used was aspirational. We are saying a differentiated service, this thing. A differentiated service by itself, which so far probably hasn't really been rolled out into the environment. Now, how do you basically get that part communicated to the environment and to the decision makers or the customer is again something which is pretty challenging for us using the technology part of it. And our marketing teams exactly continue to basically be seized of this matter and continue to work with it. What are the basically experiences in terms of successful rollouts, successful marketing campaigns that we have run is something that can be discussed later on. Thank you.
I'll just add on one or 2 points here. I'll not talk about mobile phones and apps and etc. etc. The golden rule as far as the supply chain industry goes talks about how do you make sure that how does your customer's customer look good? And once you are able to achieve this, I think whatever my panelists are talking about, all is done, taken care of, finito. Right. So things changed, the era changed, marketing 4.0, and what we had was companies evolving. They crashed the transit times between metros. From Delhi to Mumbai, earlier it used to take 3 days for a truck to reach. Now it takes 22 hours. Delhi to Mumbai, Delhi to Bangalore, 38 hours. Delhi to Chennai, 44 hours. And that what it did was, it made sure that air cargo, Anuj sitting here would agree with me, but the road cargo moved towards a greater height. That is what about leveraging technology. The second part, making information available. Now, whatever we are talking about, how does the product reach, the back-end supply chain, once you have notifications, messages, WhatsApp coming down to you, this is here, this is there, all this is possible simply because you have a flawless supply chain. Various companies are doing it, and there are technology partners who are working towards it. There are various devices which are working towards it. All this is possible only through technology. Technology is evolving. It is not going to stop here. It is going to carry on from here. And tomorrow, you will certainly see, sheets coming in, the slip sheets coming in, pallets being taken out, robotics coming in. A lot of things will change. That's the in thing. That's what we are supposed to do. Over to you, sir.
It's not working.
Thank you. I think I'll pick up from where Anand left when he talked about BTS and how his 5-year-old daughter is an intrinsic fan and how BTS knows it, right? BTS knew who the customer is and where this customer is and how to even find them, which channel to get them from, right? Essentially, what this advent of technology has done for BTS, for all of our companies as well, and the companies that you will go on to lead in the future, is that if you want it, now you can know your customer, at a very intrinsic level. You almost know more about the customer than the customer's best friend may know about him or her via technology, right? And some of the area, and one area where you could use this to your advantage to rebuild trust is when things don't go as per plan, right? So there would be times, whether you're selling a product or a service, and perhaps more so in a service, when your service would not deliver as per the standards. You will have that moment of failure in service delivery. You will have that off chance where the customer is not satisfied with what you've done for the customer. Now, what do you do when this technology allows you to know your customer in such an intimate manner? How do you leverage this now in this service recovery situation? This has also changed. So, in a previous era, your customer service, because you did not have the tools and technology to understand your customer so much, you had no option but to have a very cookie cutter, standard, SOP-led customer service approach, right? What startups, what consumer first companies have done, they've turned this concept on the head. They talk about two things. One, be very upfront and be honest about that the service would fail. Be vulnerable. So in personal leadership, there's this concept of displaying your vulnerability to get buy-in from your teams and to show the human side of it, right? So the companies are now not scared of showing their human sides. Some of the smarter, if you've ever ordered on Zomato and if you've ever experienced their customer support, of course, if you've ordered, you would have had the off chance and the order did not come on time, right? And then you had to go to the app and chat with Zomato's customer service. When you're chatting with something authentic. If you just Google, there would be like 100 plus instances of Zomato's customer service chat when the food is already running delayed, going viral and it goes viral not because they wanted it to go viral. It went viral because the company at some point decided that we would follow this tonality. We know our customer. Our customer is a digital native, is a e-com first kind of a person. We will talk his language, and we will also share the truth, right? So, and that vulnerability, that ability to talk to your customer directly without the smoke screens helps a lot, right? If you get a call, if you call up a call center or a call center call comes to you for any support case or a sales case, if the other person there said, "Good morning, sir, so and so," you don't want it. I whenever I get a call where they start with sir or Mr., I said, my parents gave a name to me and I like it, and you know my name, so why don't you use it? So don't call me this, So that behavior, which now you can, if you understand your customer, you can do it. And as I said, now with the tools and technology in the digital era, it can be done. And the other piece is, you also want to, even at the time of selling a service, you want to talk about the fact that it can fail, because nobody expects service to not fail. Service by definition will have a human element, and a human element will have a failure from time to time. But what the customer would like to know is, what do you do in case of a failure? I think we don't even need to come to this 2.0, 4.0 era for that. We can actually go way back, to the early 2000s. Domino's Pizza probably pioneered this, right? So they said 30 minutes of free. that was also an acknowledgement कि यार पिज़्ज़ा लेट हो सकता है, मतलब इट्स नॉट कि लेट नहीं होगा, लेट हो सकता है, होगा, chances are नहीं होएगा, 30 minutes में पहुंच जाएगा, but if it happens then we'll compensate, right? So that's a promise, and now you can make that promise. The technology allows you to make that promise in a different way to different people depending upon how you understand your target audience, right? You could make that promise as a free product to a TG. You could make that promise as an upgrade in their tier of service to a TGB, and so on. So and it's up to us as organizations and as marketeers to leverage and harness this. If you harness this right, again, I quoted Zomato for I think 5 minutes of the portion I spoke. You see the valuations of the company. You see where they've reached in such a small time. Not many old businesses were built this way, right? So the value that this can deliver is out there for everyone to see.
Thank you very much, sir. Since we are running short of time, so we can just wrap up the discussion, and of course I'll throw the questions for the audience. So just to summarize, we have discussed about the pros of digitalization, the role of marketing and digitalization, how they are intricate and how they are used extensively. But yes, the challenges which has not been, they have discussed in the discussion, but I would like to pinpoint here as students. First of all, of course, cybersecurity is one point which is always a challenge of digitalization. Privacy of data is another point. Third is digital divide, which I would like to pinpoint here. Digital divide is about still the gap between the rich and poor. Rich are able to get computer, you are able to get the mobile, the smartphones, so you are able to access the internet and digitalization. But that gap is still there as a globalized problem. So this has to be beat up. Lastly, I think one more I would like to add on is the skill gap, which is having. You as a students have to come up with a time, as sir was talking about, chat GPT usage, but how many of you are using it effectively in the rightful manner? That is another challenge which has to be taken care. And that's it. I think it was wonderful. Thank you very much, all of you, for your inputs. Yes. So we expect some questions from the audience for the discussion that has been made here. So any queries, any questions, most welcome. This is an indication of whether you were listening or you were thinking about the food, actually. So I really expect a question from the audience.
All are waiting for the lunch only.
Yeah, I think so. That's quite natural, but still. So that means all things are the more, see, the ultimate objective of the discussion was you should understand what corporates feel and actually to fulfill the gap between the corporate and the students. And I think if you have it all, then I think the mission is accomplished. So still I'm waiting for any question. Chalo, great, yeah.
Social media, but the attention span is getting lesser divided. So how the brands are tackling that problem and how they are fitting their brands in their mind, consumers' mind. Is there anything, is the technique has changed from the traditional marketing, or is it the same?
I can just give you example about how FMCG works, right? So how we work, I'll just give you, that the moment you show any interest in any of our product, just for example, right, we will not leave you until you buy it, right? So I'm saying, so what we'll do is you scroll anything and you will find our options there, right? So what is happening is we are just checking your interest level. So we are making it little more attractive for you or an incentive to buy. Right. So the moment we see one or two, your interest increases, we straight away gives you an option, or an incentive to buy. Right. So I'm saying what is happening is that we are slowly, so everything is being watched very closely, right? As sir has said, right? So data is the new oil. Let me put it like this, right? So all wars after this is only going to happen in data, right? So we know exactly what you are looking for, what is the price band that you're looking for. We'll straight away come with you an option so that it is hard for you to reject it, right? So that's point number 2. And last but not the least is then obviously, more testimonials of the product who have buy it, so that it gives you more confidence that you are pitching in, you are making the right choice. So that's how organizations is moving. Thanks.
Okay, sir.
Hello, sir. I have a question from Anush, sir. Sir, can you throw some points on aviation sustainability?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
So I had a question that, can you throw some points on aviation sustainability? Because as an aspirational we are more concerned towards environment. So do you have any points on that?
Okay, so when you're talking in terms of a sustainability part of it from, as far as the international norms are concerned, I think there has been a very concerted effort by the aviation, community as such. Be it right from, let's say, the Boeings and the Airbuses coming up with fuel types which in any case are going to minimize the carbon footprint during the flights for all the carriers. And I think all the order replacements that are coming in are to that extent futuristic, and this migration has started off. That's one part. 2, I think another thing which is happening, and something which is happening very rapidly globally, in India also, is a very clear, kind of, let's say, mandate that organizations have given themselves, that all equipment that we get to use at these gateway airports are battery driven or basically having an alternate source of energy. And we have generally done away with the fossil fuel usage in the entire ecosystem as such. There is a very concerted effort, because there is a lot of, just for your information, not that I'm wanting to get into the technicalities, but the fact is there is a lot of basically plastic that was being used, as whether it was on the passenger side or on the cargo side. There has again been a very, very clear mandate in terms of reducing that particular plastic usage. And over the last about 3 years, if I take that data, the consumptions have come down by almost about 25 to 30% in terms of use of plastic by the carriers or by the other stakeholders in the chain when it comes down to that. So to that extent, I think there is a lot of work being done, and I'm sure it's a matter of time wherein it would now start manifesting itself in a mandate to the stakeholders to switch. That's what is happening there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, and let's have a big round of applause once again. Now I would request our faculties to present the memento to the panelists, and I would request Dr. Renu Verma, our PG chair, to present the memento to Mr. Ibad Hanif. I would request Professor Charitra Jain to present the memento to Mr. Anush Thapliyal. Professor Jyoti to present the memento to Mr. Anand Singh Bisht. I would request Professor Sabah Jafri to present the memento to Rajat Bindish. And now I would request Professor Vikram Tyagi to present the memento to Dr. Jitin Gaur. I would request our Dean Dr. Richa Dhaya to present the memento to our moderator Dr. Ruchi Dikshit. And now I would request Professor Rajiva Ranjan to present the memento to Mr. Varun Pasricha. Let's once again give a huge round of applause for our esteemed panelists. And now on behalf of our school, we invite the guest to proceed for the lunch to reception lobby and in the ground floor. And I request the students to stay back and let the panelists go, and then we can all go back. And the student volunteers are requested to kindly go with the panelists and accompany them. And all the students must get back after 45 minutes. Attendance will be taken, and it is mandatory for all to attend the third panel discussion.